knew who they wanted. They had a number one player, and it was not the guy the Houston Texans pick. And watch this.
The New York Jets are now on the clock. Yes.
So did you see the spin move? Like, nobody's going to say that Joe Douglas doesn't hold himself as a professional. He's tight-lipped. He's close to the vest. He always knows how to say the right thing. Company speak. He's that guy. He's very respectful. People can throw him under the bus. Oh, remember Marcus May's agent? Joe Douglas, the worst GM in all. I hate him. And he just said, hey, look, we love Marcus. Never said a thing. Never gets sucked into this stuff. Joe Douglas is the epitome of professionalism. But when he gets what he wants, even if it's for a brief second, pooh, little chair spin, that was the guy that he wanted. They didn't take him. He got him, and we saw it.
I think he's going to be day one, a violent vertical edge setter.
I see some gas off the edge. Get that mindset to put your shoulder on somebody. Dig, drop. You're finished. Hey, first down. This is weird. Get worse than that side.
Well, hello, everyone. What are you doing? All right. I'm in a good mood because I'm here with you guys. This is GreenBean. Welcome to the Tuesday Talkin' Jets panel pacifier stream part 2. What do you think of that title, huh? Sorry, I had to play you the after hours intro, but I don't have an intro for the Talkin' Jets panel pacifier stream part 2. I didn't make that one yet. So you know what we're doing here, right? You know what we're doing. This is no secret. We have, for most of the year, we have a show that we all attend called the Talkin' Jets panel on Jets Talk 24/7. And we are in the offseason, so there has been a chosen break for that panel. So here I am. Now, the good news is with the break is that I don't know if you guys have heard the news yet, but it was a wise choice to delay or to take a break with the panel because our boy Ryan, the benefactor of Jets Talk 24/7, just became a daddy. Right before Father's Day, he squoze it in. He made it in there just at the nick of time to be a father on Father's Day. So he got to have a little beautiful daughter. I could not be more excited for him. And so here we are. So I'm here on Tuesday nights over here to try to, it's like I said, it's our pacifier. It's our Baba. This is the Baba stream. That's what I should call it. So I'm happy. We have Jets Chaos in the background. We'll bring him on later. He can hang. And he's watching your baloney in the sidelines over there in the chat. He's making sure nobody's doing the things they do. You know how that goes. But I want to say hello to Big Green. Showed up first. He said, "Hey, who's in here?" This was like I don't know, half hour early. Big Green's checking in, see who the hell's in here. It was just you, Big Green. Half hour early, buddy. But it's good to see you. Spin Max Dave was here. Hawk followed him, and Stephen Engel. Nice crew for the early bunch. We had Slaugo is here. Vino is back. Yeah, man. Who else? J Man Hop, Michael Lando, Jets Forever. There it is. Now the stream can begin. We have our Green Heart, James Saberka, Paul Olioski or Olakoski. There it is. Olakoski. Ryan Jett is back. That's right. He's screaming for vengeance. Michael Lando. We know that. We know that one. Screaming. I got it. You know, that's not even my favorite, though, Michael. I love that one. But my favorite Rob Halford scream is in Victim of Changes. That's it. And live. Victim of Changes. That's the best. Clearly, I've practiced, and I sound just like Rob Halford. Brian Sill is here. LT is back. Yeah, it's good to see you guys, man. And look, this is it. This is us, right? This is the crew. We need to talk some Jets. And if we use that talking Jets to kind of dovetail into some other things. We're among friends. We can do that, right? But what we really want to do is we want to process what's really going on out there. So yeah, Patrick saying hello to everybody. Patrick Zanelli. Yeah, man, me too. You know what we'll get into tonight too? We'll get into a little bit of Ravens. I'm gonna start talking about the Ravens a little bit. Not too much. Like it's like when you remember how Jeremy started the mock drafts like 6 months early? Remember how he did that last year? So then by the time the draft comes, you're like, mocks, right? So I don't want to talk too much about the Ravens just yet. I don't want to make it that when we come to the week, we don't want to talk about it. But we'll start talking about it just a little bit. You know, we have a big game, man. And, I was listening to Sirius XM today. What was it? That wasn't Moving the Chains. It was the show right before it. And they were talking about, they were breaking down the Ravens. And they said a couple of interesting things. And I don't know if you guys are aware. Like when you look at the Ravens draft, something that I noticed, I couldn't believe it because I didn't know it going in, but I noticed it during the draft, was the Ravens had 6 fourth-round picks. 6. Or was it 4 sixth-round picks? I think hold on a minute. I got to double check here. But the Ravens were able to get hold on, draft. So the Ravens were able to get so many players that we liked in the mid to late rounds, you know? So let me see here. So the Ravens started with Kyle Hamilton, which, by the way, if you had to pick the perfect place for Kyle Hamilton, now you guys know I loved Kyle Hamilton. I thought he would have been a great pick. I really wanted him. Understood all the reasons why not and all that jazz. But even just like all other teams aside, like if you could pick the number one best landing spot for Kyle Hamilton, it was the Ravens. And they didn't have to trade up. They didn't have to do anything. They just sat there and Kyle Hamilton fell in their lap. And the same thing happened with Tyler Linderbaum, without question. I mean, across the board, pretty much the most highly regarded center in the draft, right? And there he is. So they get Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Linderbaum in the first. Then they got David Ojabo, who, as we know, sadly had that Achilles injury in his pro day, which is just the best. I mean, the worst. But the Ravens, having the infrastructure they have, they said, you know what? This is a gem in the second round. It's a steal. He's a first round pick every day of the week. They don't need to have, put pressure on him. They have the infrastructure there. It's another one. Great place for him to go. Then they got defensive tackle Travis Jones, who we like. They got the guy we talked about for a couple of years, Daniel Falele, right? We all know him. Then they got Armour Davis, a cornerback. We talked about him a bunch, but here's where it starts, man. So look, they got, hold on, the fourth round starts. Here's their fourth round. Daniel Falele, Jalen Armour Davis, Charlie Kolar, Jordan Stout, Isaiah Likely, Demarion Williams. That's their fourth round, dude. Okay, and then they got some other good. Tyler Batty's another one we talked about. So the Ravens did a damn good job, and they're already stacking it on top of a good team, right? The Ravens are always good. The Ravens are a formidable foe. One of the things I found interesting is that these guys were talking about the Ravens lost a couple games last year by choosing to go for the win over overtime, which is interesting, right? It's like, just like that, it could have been 10-7 and had a whole different season, just like that. It just didn't work. So a lot of the time, like, we applaud coaches for having the guts to do that stuff. Intelligently, of course. You don't want to Rex Ryan bringing Mark Sanchez back in the fourth quarter of preseason. Like, yeah, it's fun, but there's a smart thing, a way to do it, and a not so smart. So obviously, John Harbaugh is known as one of the smarter coaches, more well-run machines, and he loses his coaches all the time, and they still tend to be forward, moving forward. So it's going to be interesting to watch. We talk about our draft, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. We talk about our draft, and I think our draft was one of the stronger, if not, it's arguably the strongest draft. But that said, the Ravens added quite a bit to their roster. Now, it's all going to come down to this one fella that you may or may not have heard of, and that is Lamar Jackson. Have you heard of this guy? Lamar. But here's the thing. They talked about his trend. So he had that MVP year. He had 30-something touchdowns and 9 interceptions. I think it was 34. I might have that wrong. And then he comes down the next year and he's got 25 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. And then last year he had 16 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. So it's like the trend for 3 years has been down with this guy. And then he got the injuries and all that sort of stuff. So we don't know. And then you think about it like this. They're in that contract thing. He's being a good boy. He's showing up at camp. It's he's showing up at camp, or at least mini camp. We'll see about training camp. But think about what the Ravens have to pay attention to here. Now, they have this guy, Lamar Jackson, who by many accounts, they didn't even say he's supposed to be an NFL quarterback, right? Some people loved him, but most thought as athletic and gifted and all that stuff as he is, he's probably not going to be an NFL quarterback. He came in, he made it, they picked him with the last pick in the first round, and he came in toward the end of his rookie year, and played well. Next year, he was an MVP. Right. So he already kind of exceeded expectations. I don't even think the Ravens even saw that coming. But then you have the 3-year trend of MVP, good, not so good. And it's trending down. If you start the last 3 years, if you look at it, it's a downtrend. So there now where he's up for a contract, and he wants to be the highest paid guy and all whatever else, probably, at least in that conversation. So what do? They got a quarterback who's trending downward, who's coming off a major injury, and he wants to be paid. What do you think? It's going to be interesting, right? It's going to be interesting to see what they do, because they're our week 1 opponent. And as we've talked about, the Ravens are well-oiled. They're a beautifully run organization. Although I will say, if you look, that the first round pick after the Ozzie Newsome era was Hollywood Brown, and he's already gone. So they just took him a few years ago. They traded him away. So it might not be as well oiled as maybe it has been in the past. There are some cracks. So we have to figure out exactly how to exploit those cracks. But let me tell you, that draft is friggin' good. That's a Teen Bean in the house, everybody. It's Metal Kid. If you don't know him, it's Teen Bean. He's Metal Kid. Here he is. He's talking to Paul. That's Metal Kid, everyone. If you want to support him, you can go to metal_kid on YouTube, and you see he makes me listen to the metal of today's. You guys know I'm a heavy metal guy. But the shit he listens to, man, I can't even deal. I can't deal with it. So we do these reaction videos. What? You think what?
I hear you.
He hears me. So anyway, if you want to check that out, you can go over to metal_kid on YouTube and support him. And you can see him making me and my wife listen to metal. It was fun. It's fun. I even made him listen to some of my 80s metal. We did a reaction on Wasp. So it's not out yet. Okay, we'll get that one out. So, all right. So there you go. So the Ravens, right? It's interesting. And as I said, we'll touch on them a little bit here and there. We're not going to dig into them too much. But one thing I will say is that if we beat them, if we do, and we can, it's all about health, right? If we beat them, it's going to be a very, very interesting season, right? Very. If we come out of the gate and us animals in the stands screaming and yelling, and the energy, we got to bring as much, and you got to leave those games deflated. You got to leave them with nothing left in the tank. That's my thought. Opening day, you got to leave it out there. You got to put your energy into the circle, and we'll see how it goes, because we need to win it, and we don't need to win it, but if we do, it's going to be a season changer, just like that. And then we go into Cleveland, and they won't have Deshaun Watson. Most likely, we'll probably be playing Jacoby Brissett, maybe Baker Mayfield, who knows? But they're still a friggin' good team. But if you beat the Ravens and you go into Cleveland and you beat them, dude, now we're talking. So, all right. So I'm gonna lean on you guys today. I'm gonna bring Jeremy on, help me out. and I might have a couple other people. There's a few people out there that might pop in, maybe not. We'll see how it goes. So I want this one to be, look, we're in the off season, right? We're in the off season. We have some things. We could talk about Peter Schrager. We could talk about Boomer Esiason, who the last 3 years has really become like he's an asshat, dude. Like, what happened to him? He's the guy, like, he keeps throwing out these like ridiculous things. Like, he's talking about the Jets literally cutting Mekhi Becton. You know how expensive that would be? Like, it doesn't even make sense. So we could talk about that. We'll look at that. We'll go into over the cap. We'll see, we'll see what it would cost. It's like, I don't know. It's just so clear to me sometimes that they're out there trying to stir you up, man. That's it. They're like, I hear it. I'm like, oh my God, get the fuck out of here. And I just leave it alone. But if you guys want to talk about it, we can. Lots of stuff. Woodrow checking in. He says, Woodrow, but no paddle. I like that. It's good. It's a good name. If you don't think about it, you go fly right by it. Woodrow, but no paddle. I can't deal with this kind of optimism, Greenbean. The worst part about being a Jets fan is not the losing. It's the hope that one day will be good. Well, here's the thing. If you guys look, a lot of you didn't hang out with me during the Adam Gase years. You know what I mean? Like, truly, I was called a doom and gloomer, man. You know what I mean? That's what I was called. People said, dude, this guy's he's fucking miserable to listen to. And I would try to be hopeful here and there, and I'd make funny videos, stuff like that. But people called me doom and gloom, because I'm not just optimistic because I'm a homer, Woodrow. I want you to know that. I lean homer. To be fair and honest, I do lean homer, but I'm not a homer, dude. Okay? Quite the contrary, I can be brutal toward the Jets and what they're doing. And for years, that's what I was. I saw no hope, bro. Now, there was a time when I thought I had my wires crossed, and even though I didn't like the Bowles at all, the Bowles McCagnon regime, in my opinion, at the time, I thought Todd Bowles was the more of the problem than McCagnon. It looked to me that Mike McCagnon was getting Bowles the types of players that he likes. That's what it thought. Like, Darren Lee, Jamal Adams, Marcus May, like all those guys, like two safeties in a draft. Like, to me, that reeked of Todd Bowles wanted these guys. That's just what I thought. Now, we learned a lot since that may not have been the case because, Todd Bowles' staff wasn't even allowed to talk to McCagnon. Like that, so they did. It was all McCagnon. So anyway, but it didn't matter that I was wrong on where to direct my angst. The truth is, I was not happy. I knew the minute we hired Todd Bowles, I was like, okay, of course I'm going to be hopeful. Of course. But the way that I looked at every coach that we hired the past however long, the way I said it in my head is this the guy that's going to dethrone Belichick? Do I see that in this person? When we hired Todd Bowles, I have to admit, I did not. I was just like, now 2015, I was like, okay, maybe I got it all wrong. I like Chan Gailey, right? I'll give Todd Bowles, a chance. So 2015 looked pretty good. McCagnon won Executive of the Year. So I was excited like everybody else. But very quickly, all my original thoughts kind of came flooding back in. So it's not that I have hope just because I hope every year, Woodrow. I want you to know that. I'm looking at something that I have been screaming for over a decade. Now, in 2010 and 11, I didn't want them to destroy that team. What I wanted them to do is just use the draft to support and bolster. They destroyed the team and tried to rebuild it. And it's never been the same since. We're just now getting our heads out of our asses because we're still just now standing up. So I just want you to know that I'm with you on the hope thing, but I had a very realistic, the last few years, man, I didn't think we were winning anything. I rooted, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I rooted. But it wasn't like I really believed that Todd Bowles or Adam Gase were going to be our guy. Like, never. That was 6 years of me going, ain't happening. You know what I mean? Again, I rooted, I cheered, I studied, I did the same shit, did the draft. Like there were drafts I would watch Woodrow, and it was like, what are they doing? What the hell are they doing? Who is that? Why did you do that? Let's see. Let's bring on the Jets Chaos himself and see what he thinks. If he's worried about all the hope. Let's see. Let's talk about Woodrow's comment here. What's up there, Jeremy? How you doing, buddy?
What up? Doing good. Doing good. I love the name. Love the name. Woodrow, but no paddle.
That's right. He would, but he can't. Use your hand, Woodrow.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's like misdirect.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Who I haven't seen in a while. I haven't seen misdirect in a while.
Yeah.
But so what do you think? Like now, look, he brings up a good point here, right? Like I can't deal with the optimism. The worst thing about being a Jets fan is not the losing, it's the hope. What do you think of that?
I think it's the only part. I mean, without it, what would we be? I mean, we lose our season so fast lately, right? I mean, for years, it's like our season's over before it begins. If we don't have the offseason, what do we have?
Dude, one of my first Jetnation videos, I was because I used to travel. That's where the On the Road with GreenBean thing came on. I was like traveling for my job, and I would make Jetnation videos like up in North Carolina and Baltimore, and I made this one in Virginia Beach where I made this exciting video. It was one of my first ones, and I said, "It's here, baby. It's the off season. Like, get ready, Jets fans." And it was like, and I was kidding, but I wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, let's get this friggin' season out of the way and get to the good shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But you know, in this case, it really feels different because like when the years where we signed like a big free agent, like deep down, I think we're excited to see that guy play. But like if you're using your brain, you know that it doesn't work. You know, you can't stick a couple of stars on just crap and expect to really do anything. But that's what's so different about this, because that's not what we did. And it's like I feel like we are building a real core. So I think that there's true reason for hope. Well,
yeah. That's very well said, and that's exactly what I mean. There's actually reason for hope. Like when you look at the events or the choices, or even if you don't agree, like you guys know, I made it very, very clear. I didn't think that we were going to take Sauce Gardner. I liked the player, but I was like, I didn't see us needing a cornerback more than an edge. You know what I mean? That kind of a thing. I'm very happy with the way the first round ended up. I'm delighted. I can't even believe it's real. But that, you know, it's like, but you look at it and the moves make sense. Like everything makes sense. They're building a strong core of young elite type of players. Now, again, we said this a bunch. We don't know if they're going to work out. Garrett Wilson could be a huge bust for all we know. We don't know that. At the same time, when you look at the why and the how of it all, it finally makes sense. Like, for example, the Quinnen Williams pick, dude, that made so little sense. As much as I like Quinnen, and I'm happy he's here, and I'm rooting for him, and I believe in him, and all those things, when we made that pick, I had to trick myself into justifying it. Like, okay, McCagnon just knows that this is the true best player in the draft. Like, I tried doing that to him, but there was no way we should have taken Quinnen Williams. It was a stupid move.
Yeah. I mean, right now we root for him because we're Jets fans. We're hoping for the best, but there's no question. At the time, that was a horrendous pick.
Dude, it's like, you know, how about when we traded 3 second-round picks to move up 3 spots? We gave up a second-round pick per spot to move up and use a top 3 pick on a quarterback. And the next pick, we do it on a small school defensive tackle that's 3 years older than everybody else. Like, defensive tackle? That's what you give our quarterback, man? How about some McCagnon? I think he had 5 drafts. He took 2 offensive linemen, dude. 2 in 5 drafts. Not, you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't make sense. So that's the whole thing. Like, when we look at these guys now, you might not agree with each move, and that's fine. And then there are obviously going to be moves that don't work. And of course, that's the name of the game. But when you see it, it makes sense. Like, look at our draft in our offseason. We bolstered our offensive line and protection with the tight ends. We gave Zach Wilson numerous new weapons. The tight ends were not good last year, so he went out and revamped the entire tight end room. We got Conklin, Uzoma, and Ruckert instead of Brown, Croft, and Griffin. I mean, completely changed it. Then you look at, we brought in defensive backs. You brought in a safety. Safety was a huge problem last year, so we went and brought in a young guy. Considered by some to be top 3 strong safety in the NFL. So anyway, it makes sense. So I think hope is not so it's not so unrealistic right now. I get it. Woodrow's not wrong. That's the most painful part. Like when I brought my son to his first home opener, Jeremy, back in 2019, Adam Gase's first year, and I was excited about Sam Darnold. I hated Adam Gase, but I was all right. It's game 1. He did well with the Dolphins year 1. Maybe we can have some fun. And we were beating the hell out of the Bills, beating the hell out of them. CJ Mosley went down, and we lost the game. When that started happening, like I knew, right? And then the next week we found out mono and everything, but I walked my son out. I said, hey, let's go. And he said, no, the game's out. I said, let's go. This one's over. You know what I mean? Like I've seen this too many times. And I walked him out but I knew right then, like that hope that I had going in, I saw what was real. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
just saying it. And it sucks to say that week 1, but you can tell. Yeah. Let's see. Here. Yeah, Knobcraft says doom and gloom or pragmatic. Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. People said to me I was doom and gloom, but Knobcraft is right. I was just pragmatic. I'm not a homer and I'm not doom and gloom, but at the same time, people that are on the other side of that, you know how it is these days. If you're not all the way over here, then you must be all the way over there. That's kind of the way it goes. It's in many facets of our world. But where Jets fandom is concerned, I was either a doom and gloomer or I get called a homer now. People go, how many comments do I get each week? People say, I appreciate you trying to find the positive, but this guy sucks, or this is a fail, or that was not a good move, or okay. So Daniel Murphy says, do I go to a lot of metal concerts? And I've been to hundreds of metal concerts, bro. Like no exaggeration. Hundreds. I started when I was 13 years old, and I've seen everybody, bro. You name it. I was there. I've seen them. The only bands I didn't see that I really wanted to was like The Who. I never saw The Who, and that blows my mind that I never saw The Who. But yeah, man. I mean, and there's new shit that I don't see, but yeah. I mean, I've seen everybody. You name it. Name a band, Jeremy. That's like a rock and roll band or something.
I'll name a band because they were my first. I saw 1983 Bark at the Moon tour before Motley Crue before he kicked them off the tour. Motley Crue opening for Ozzy.
Yeah, I saw that tour. I did. That was great.
Yeah, I
saw that tour at what is now called Izod Arena. That's where I saw that one.
Nice.
That was actually, I think it was that Bark at the Moon? I thought that was Ultimate Sin. No, Ultimate Sin was with Metallica opening up.
Yeah.
I've seen Ozzy 15 times.
I had tickets. I was supposed to see him, but he got sick. Well, before the pandemic, like we had tickets, and then it got postponed when he got sick, and then the pandemic happened, and they just gave us a refund and gave up trying.
Yeah. That's a bummer. Look, our guys are getting old, man. You know what I mean? That's why if you want to see somebody, like right now, there's a big tour. It's Def Leppard, Motley Crue, and Poison. They're playing stadiums.
Wow.
That's how many people are going to see these guys. But as much as I love Def Leppard, one of my all-time favorites, and I've seen Def Leppard no less than 20 times. Let's say 15 to 20 times, all right? They can still play and they still do anything, but like Motley Crue opening up, Motley Crue is using tape everywhere. They're using pre-recorded tracks all over the place. But you have to know that going in. Same thing with like my favorite band ever is Kiss, right? But you got to know going in that it's just like, dude, they're 70. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to see the show. I'm going to see the guys. You can't hold them up to the perfection torch. You know what I mean? You can't hold them up to the mirror when they were 22. Just can't. You got to know going in. But if you want to see any of these bands, you should do it now.
Well, I tell you,
because
I
it's not gonna be
saw
around.
I saw Paul Simon, not that he's heavy metal, but I saw Paul Simon a few years ago in Tahoe, and he was 75, I think, 74, 75 when he did the show, and he was great.
Yeah.
But different kind of music, though. You don't need to
I love
sing
Paul. I've seen Paul Simon. I saw Paul Simon for free in Central Park back in the day.
83?
No, that was Simon and Garfunkel.
Okay, yeah.
I saw them. It was Paul Simon in Central Park. What was that? I guess it was in the 90s. I was probably 18, something like that.
Wow, I didn't even know that happened. That's shame on me. I would have been there.
Yeah, I went to Earth Day at Central Park. I used to love fucking free shows at Central Park. I've only been to a handful, but if there was a free show going on at Central Park, I don't care who it was, I went. Yeah. I was like, let's go. Take a bunch of acid and hang out in Central Park. Anyway, Knobcraft checking back in. He says, I'm so excited to be headed to MetLife week 1. It's going to beat the desperate. It's going to beat the desperate of going to see these. Oh, the desperate. Yeah. Have you gone to USFL? You know what? I keep telling myself I'm going to watch these games, but I haven't. I watched one. Generals game, and it was fun. I mean, it's definitely not the same. It's like Mike Westhoff said on our show when I asked him, do you think it's got a shot? And he went, I'd like to think that it can, but probably not. It's just, they're not all that good. Remember when Westhoff said, speaking of like hope, right? Mike Westhoff said that 3 or 4 years ago, he was watching the Jets game. I think he said he had to cover it. And he said he's watching the game. And he said, to be fair, he didn't, watch tape on these guys, but he's just watching the game. And he said to himself, I don't think there are 5 players on this whole team, the Jets, that could make it on my team. Not 5.
Wow.
And here we are, like Woodrow said, we're hoping. Fuck you, we're gonna beat you. And it's like anybody out there, like we would get so mad at these ESPN power rankings and all this sort of stuff. That's bullshit. They're disrespecting us. And I think to some extent they are. But at the same time, when you don't have green colored goggles on and you just look at what the Jets have done, like you think the Jets have no offensive line. They just drafted Sam Darnold. They didn't give him a wide receiver or an offensive lineman or a running back. They gave him nothing. How can, and they don't even have a quarterback coach or an offensive coordinator. Like, what? How are they going to win? How are they going to beat the Ravens and the Patriots? And how? You know what I mean? So when you can see it, when you look at it through a very objective lens for a long time, just like Westhoff said, there's not 5 players on this team that I would want. And that's the sad part about it. Man. So let's see. Jets New York 102 checking in. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. He says Flight 22 was good, but it's propaganda. All I know is when the Jets take off in September, us fans deserve to be sitting in first class. Well, look, of course it's propaganda, right? I think propaganda is a strong word. It has a tilt. Okay. It obviously is showing things in a positive light, but here's what I'll say. You can only show things in a positive light that aren't positive to a certain extent. Okay. Like when you look at the Senior Bowl, and we can spin that how much we, affected the kids and how our coaches were, doing great things. But when it comes down to it, if they sucked, if they looked like shit, then you can only push that so far. But the truth is that our team looked well-oiled, our Senior Bowl team. All of the reports coming out of there where the Jets practices are more efficient. They're better run. There's more going on. Everybody's moving faster. Like it was a whole different level of what Detroit was doing. Right. So when you couple that with what actually happened, Jets, New York 102, then you can say, okay, yes, it's definitely tilted in a positive light. They're not going to make a show about how much they suck, right? Look at us. We're so bad at this. They're not going to do that. At the same time, Joe Douglas did pull out 3 top 8 players in the first round. Now, maybe his ratings could be wrong. Like that could be something. Maybe Jermaine Johnson is a big bust, and that's why he slipped. Maybe, right? And you know, but the thing is that by and large in NFL circles, if Joe Douglas would have taken Jermaine Johnson at 4 or 10, most people would have thought it was right on time. It was perfect. That's where he should go. There were people that said not top 5, but top 10. There were people that said he's a top 15 player. But if the Jets would have taken him at 10, nobody would have batted an eyelash. And Joe Douglas got him at 26 for a 5th round pick. You know what I mean? So you can only pretend so much. The truth is that Joe Douglas did call every team. He called every team from pick, I think it was pick 11 to pick 26. So he called every team, and they have it on. He was calling every for an hour and a half. He didn't talk to anybody. He just worked the phones, and it worked. So that's what I mean. So we can look at it. Guys like Breece Hall, guys like, Lake and Tomlinson, whoever, all the people we brought in, like if they fail, then it's a different story. If Robert Saleh is a shitty head coach and Ulbrich needs to be fired, he's so bad. Like if that stuff starts going on, then yeah, we have something to talk about. But when you look at the process of what's been going on, I think Flight 2022 did a good job of showing us the behind the scenes of a process that from our vantage point, we're all saying, wow, this is looking better than usual. And now we just got to see behind the door. Now, the second part of his question, Jeremy, or comment, I should say, says the Jets fans deserve to be sitting in first class, and I agree with them. And, it's been far too long. It's been far too long. I mean, what do you think? I'm going to opening day. Being a realist, and we still have time to deconstruct this. You think the Jets have a real shot winning on opening day?
Oh yeah, unbelievably so. Look, I picked, and I went on Payo Time show. He's a YouTube provider for the Rams. He's doing every team, and he chose me as his Jets fan to come on and predict every game. And I picked the Ravens, but I said it was a really tough one. It was very, very hard for me. I was very conflicted. But I admitted at the end, I said, look, they had a good offseason, and they're a good team, better team than we were last year, like you were saying. And does that mean I don't think we have hope? No, I believe that we're going to make it. I believe we have a really good chance to win that game. I do. I could see how. I can envision why and how we can win that game. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit there. If I was the odds maker, I agree with the odds makers. I would make them about a 5-6 point favorite on the Ravens.
Yeah. It makes sense. That's actually a good way to look at it too, and a good way to say it. It's like, yes, I'm rooting and I see the path. I can see how. If these things work and we've bolstered them and there's reason to believe that it can, we have a shot. But if not, I mean, if you just look at the two teams up to this point leading into that game, obviously the Ravens should be the bet. You know what I mean? That should be. Yeah. Vino says he had his Lawson surgery this morning, so it sounds like he might have had his Achilles fixed. Needed some live streams. Well, I'm glad you're here, Vino, and I'm glad that you made it out, right? I hope it's a successful surgery. Doctors usually the first day say it's great. Everything's great. I did such a good job. They do that, but hopefully it was. And just the fact that you woke back up, in my opinion, big deal. That's a big one. It's a big part of surgery. Is waking up, Jeremy. That's the whole thing.
And Vino is one of the sharpest, funniest guys in the chat in the Jets world. So I'm glad that he's back and looking forward to him making us laugh again. So
yeah, well, good. And Vino, thank you for letting us know so we could kind of add some positive vibes to your mix over there, man. Let's everybody, send him a little that was the horns. I sent him the horns, Jeremy. I can't do that. Some positive vibes. Trigger your pineal gland and send them some love, man.
Hey, don't miss out on Josh Scott. He also did a super chat.
Josh Scott. I did it backwards. Okay, there it is. Thank you, Josh Scott. It's good to see you. I have a stepbrother named Josh Scott. Is that you? Are you? It does. I don't think so. And not if he saw a crew in 2011. He saw a crew at 2011 at Bamboozle and Meadowlands parking lot. Oh, nice. The last time I saw Motley Crue, they were with Kiss. So I saw the Kiss Motley Crue. You want to hear a story, Josh? So my son, I wish I could find the picture for you guys. Let me just see if I can find it real fast. I'll try to tell the story. Hold on. So my son was young. He was Just obsessed. I don't have it. He was obsessed with Kiss and Gene Simmons in particular. Obsessed. That's all we did all night. He put on his guitar and he would just watch Kiss videos and mimic them. And so we go to see Kiss with Motley Crue, and I paint his face like Gene Simmons. It looked money, bro. It was so good. I was so proud of it. And I didn't think we're driving up. It's just he and I. We're driving up to the concert. It's about an hour away, 45 minutes, an hour away in West Palm. And we're driving up and we're heading north, and the sun is setting on the west. So I don't realize until about a half hour or so into the trip that the sun is pounding on his face. He's sitting behind me on the left side. The sun is just pounding him, and the paint is melting all down his face. And he's a little kid. He was like, I don't know, 5 at top, 4 or 5, something like that, maybe 6, something in that range. And he's doing this, and he can't help it. He says, Dad, I got the pound. I'm like, no, don't touch it. Don't touch it. I moved the mirror, and it's smeared all over his face. And the poor kid, he's like, ah! So I had to pull over at a rest stop, and I go into a bathroom and I wash it all off. And, because obviously that takes priority. I wanted to make it to the show, of course, but this guy was in the bathroom. I was walking out, and he says, hey, I saw it, man. That was awesome. You know what I mean? Like, so he just let me know, at least somebody saw it. He goes, I saw it, dude. That was good.
Wow.
So we didn't make it. We didn't make it to the show, Josh, with that one. But thank you. I know Knobcrest says a freaking parking lot is more expensive than the games. Let me tell you something. Last year, when I went to opening day, I had to pay $110 for a parking pass. Just the parking pass. So any of you guys, like if you guys are coming in from out of town, right? I know that like Harry's flying in. I know a few more of you guys that are flying in. Like if any of you guys are coming into town for that game and you bought your tickets, make sure you have a parking pass. Like, and unless you're going to park somewhere else and the system and you're taking a bus in or something weird like that. If you're driving to the stadium, make sure you have one. Buy it now because they get more expensive as they go. What happens is all StubHub gets them and all that kind of stuff. And then you end up paying, they could be $40, $50, but you're going to pay $100. I saw them out there for $200, $200, man. And then if you want the premium ones, dude, they were like $200-$300 for a parking. That's just to drive in. So that's the worst part. Like, well, you can say what you want about the stadium, and most people don't love it. I don't love it. I don't hate it like a lot of other people do, but I definitely don't love it. I might hate it, Jeremy. I might. I might hate it a little bit. But the real problems are the PSL license. You have to pay $10,000 just for the right to buy a good seat. Like, that's horse shit. I know it's acceptable out there these days. Dude, when the first team that did that, we should have slammed our fist on the table and said, no, you will not charge me $10,000 for the right to spend $500 a ticket. No way. But people did it. Now it's a thing that they've twisted our arm and we went, oh yeah, I'm sorry. So now that's what we do. So that's bullshit, number one. And number two is those parking passes. Yeah. Back in the day, with Giant Stadium, you pulled in, you paid your $15 or $20, whatever it was. You pulled into the parking lot, and everybody paid the same amount to pay in the same spot. And then there were obviously exclusive lots that only certain people can get in and all that kind of stuff. But the 90% of the lot, pay $20 and you're in. Yeah. You just got to figure out where to go. But that's the way to do it. And this bullshit that they do now, man, I don't know what it is, man. It's sad. They're raping us.
You know who started with the licensing? I believe I'm right when I say this, but I think it was Al Davis with the Raiders who started with the having to buy a license to have tickets and to have season tickets.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it was Al Davis because I remember it when people were really complaining about the Raiders when he was doing it years ago.
Oh, I don't know, man. Well, Al Davis, there it goes, and now they're in Vegas, which I don't know if you guys have. If you want to, I don't want to twist the whole show, but let me just tell you, they keep building shit in Las Vegas. Las Vegas, I believe, is fed by Lake Mead. After the show, go to YouTube and type in Lake Mead water levels. Just go take a look. It's fucking alarming, dude. And they just keep building. So I don't know. The Raiders, I don't know. The Davis brothers. The Dave, what's his name? John Davis, his son. Do you know? Al Davis's son? I forget his name.
Oh,
He's got weird hair, though. Tell you that.
Yeah, he's got a very strange hairline.
Yeah. So Frankie S checking in. What's up, Frankie Sinatri? He says, who here is very nervous about the schedule? GreenBean? Nervous wouldn't be the word I'd use. But I will say this, and I'll let Jeremy answer this one, but I will say that David Carr, in that interview where he said the Jets are going to make the playoffs, he said in his words, paraphrasing to a degree, but he said it looks like the NFL is trying to hurt the Jets. I forget exactly how he said. He said, looks like the NFL has something against the Jets or something like that. Like, how do you stack the front of the season like that? You couldn't feather in one Detroit. You couldn't feather in one Jacksonville, one Chicago. We're playing all those teams. Why do we have to play 9 games of the best teams in the entire NFL? So even if we do come out of the bye and win some games, the season could be over already. Like, why do that? So I wouldn't say I'm worried, but I am acutely aware of how difficult it is. I'll tell you that. What do you think, Jeremy? Are you nervous?
Not so nervous, annoyed a little bit, but I do see some hope in it. Like, I see that there's also a positive spin to it, or at least maybe I'm fighting to create a positive spin. And that is, if we find a way to fight and struggle and stumble with like 4 and 5 into the bye week, I'm thinking we can go on a run at the end at the right time. And
Yeah.
if we were to steal a wild card spot, we'd have all this momentum and all this confidence. And even if we didn't, if we end up 9-8 or 8-9, but won 4 or 5 out of the last 6 or 7 or something like that, it gives us confidence going into the next year.
Yeah. I mean, look, realistically, as much as it would suck, like let's say we go into the first half of the season, let's say the first 4 games, like we're playing the AFC North, and then we follow that with like Green Bay, the Patriots, everybody else. Let's say that the first 9 games we come out of there and we've won 4. As much as that would suck, if we won 4 of the 9 games, so we're 4 and 5 going into the bye, we come out of the bye and we have what looks to be the easier part of our schedule. And like Jeremy just said, we go on a run. We win 7 of the last 8 games or whatever it is, 6, 7 games, and we end up with a 10-win season. You know what I mean? So like there are numerous paths through this. We have to win some games, but as much as I want to come out and stomp a mud hole in the AFC North, I want to badly. I want to win the damn opener because I'm going to be there with all you guys. I want to experience, dude, I haven't experienced a win since 2015, man. Like live, I haven't seen a win. I've gone into stadiums, whether I was living in Miami. I went to every Jets game in Miami for 10 years. And I think the last one we won was Rex Ryan's last game. It's like, and then I took my son up to see Jacksonville in 2015 and we won that game. But other than that, like I keep walking into these damn stadiums and walking out like, I'm tired of it. So I definitely want to win it. At the same time, it's not what we would call necessary. The team can take a minute to, like, let's say we win 1 out of the first 3 games and then we win 2 out of the next 3 games. And then you know what I mean? Like if we do that, we can keep our heads above water to get to the back end and we can make this thing a season. Now, again, we want to make sure that we're clear. If we win 7 games this year, it is a rousing success, guys. 7, 8 games, it is a successful season. Now, am I going to be happy with it? No, because I want to win a lot more. And I'm really excited about what they're doing and all that jazz. But don't forget that our predictions, most of us were 7 to 10. That's where we all kind of live. There are some people that'll do me saying Jets aren't going to win 5 games. Then there are guys like Jets Forever who legitimately thinks that the Jets are winning 14 plus. You know what I mean? Hey, Harry's in town. What's up, Harry?
People are blowing the first 4 games out of proportion. Like the Denver Green Bay thing is brutal. Like that's just brutal and painful.
What
I-
is?
you
What was it?
the going away, the 2 games in a row, going into Green Bay and going into Denver, is brutal. The first 4 games, Cleveland without Deshaun Watson is beatable. I think we're going to be in the game and have some chance of winning the opener. And I think Pittsburgh, with who's playing quarterback, I don't think that's an impossible game. So I mean, I think that those first 4 games, I think we can come out of that 2-2. It's very possible.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's not just the teams, like Jeremy said, it's the way that it's stacked is brutal. I mean, this team now, look, let's see. Vino's saying this schedule can work on, to our advantage. Steal some of the tough games in the first half, then we have an easier games to carry the momentum into. Yes, and that's the thing. We have to remember that it's not a sprint. You know what I mean? It's not a sprint. It's a marathon, and we know that. But Jets fans, if we lose if we only win 1 out of the first 4 games, a significant portion of this fan base is not only going to be vehemently unhappy, they're going to be calling for heads, and we're going to have to be navigating through that noise, it's not to say that they don't have a right to do that. You know what I mean? Now I'm not that way, right? That's not how I roll, but I do understand. But the truth is, if I can just be straight with you guys for a minute, I would just rather not fucking do that again. I would rather just win enough games in the beginning to have some fun. That's what I'd rather do. You know what I mean? Why can't we have some fun, right? Can we have a fucking good time here? Like I'm going to be spending, I don't know, $1,000 or what, in total. I got to drive up to New Jersey, like the whole thing. I'm going to be doing 5 or 6 days up there. I'm going to have a whole bunch of shit. I'm committing to this thing. And then if the Jets lose, it's like, we've been hanging out with all you guys. Harry's flying in from Florida, Iowan Jet. I know he doesn't think he's going yet, but he's going. He's coming in from Iowa. And look, he says he's going 12-5. Look, there he is. Iowan Jet. We're going 12-5. So it's like, I would much rather, and for the Jets too, but for us, I would much rather go into week 1 and have a damn good time. That's what I would rather have, and be excited about this team. And what do they give us? One of the more difficult teams in the NFL. And they follow that with, we don't know if he'll be suspended or not, but dude, come on. Cleveland is stacked, dude. Stacked. We got to put Myles Garrett. So Becton or Fant, what? They got Myles Garrett? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's laid out in such a way that the NFL is saying, we know the Jets are getting better. We're going to keep them in the garbage, in the dumpster for a little while longer. We're going to do everything we can. That's what it's. And David Carr said as much, man. He said, I don't know. It looks pretty ugly, dude. What does the NFL have, a grudge? Like, who's got a harder schedule than us? And then, like you said, making us fucking Denver to Green Bay. Like, come on. What is this?
Saturday.
Let's see. Slaugo says, if the Jets play tough, competitive football, the winning will come. Agreed. And look, sometimes, just like we said last year, as much as we all wanted to see wins, and we got to see a handful of them, and they were very exciting. Those wins were great. Like the Bengals win was fantastic. And I had to stop. I was doing a live stream, and I had to leave the live stream because my son was about to play football and the game was going long. And I listened to the game on the way. And then I was in the stands watching my son with my phone, watching the game. And it was just like, I felt so good. My son kicked ass and like his team won. It was like such a great day. Then we did it against I think the Titans was first, right? Yeah. So that was the Titans game. Then the Bengals. But anyway, so we got some wins. But last year was really about one thing. It was about giving our rookie staff and players their first season. That's what it was. There was not enough influx to be a winning team. We competitive, sure, but we didn't have the infrastructure yet, and we had all the injuries and everything else. But last year was very purposeful, and we achieved that purpose. Robert Saleh, LaFleur, Ulbricht, all those guys got their first year together. Zach Wilson got his first year. You know, we got our offensive line that looks like, you know, for the most part is going to be together. You know, you got, well, you know, I still think Becton, Fant on the outside, and AVT and Connor McGovern in the middle, and then you add Lake and Tomlinson. But like, this is what we did. We gave these guys the year to kind of learn everything, absorb it, you know, all that stuff. And now we're going into year 2. So it served its purpose. Now this year, as much as I would love to just go right to the Super Bowl, man, I would love it. This year is really about one thing. It's about progress. It's about, we need to be clear that this team is on the uptrend. That's what we need. We need to win 7 games. We need it. And if we don't win 7 games, depending on how that happens, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough going into this offseason and still justifying some of this shit. You know what I mean? We win 7, though, and then we lose a couple, but last minute, we can't close it out. We're a young team. We're immature, stupid mistakes, shit like that. I'm fine with that. Yep. AC saying the refs won't let it happen. What do you mean the refs won't let us win? Beat the fucking Ravens? I hear you, dude, if that's what you're talking about. Dakota says the Jets will be 2 times champs soon.
Dakota is very confident, and I like it.
Yeah, I like this guy. I like Dakota.
You got a couple of super chats, buddy.
Oh, I do? Okay, I'll check. B-Trav says you can train in from Newark or Secaucus Junction, too. Not a terrible option. Or park at Red's Bar for $20, and they drive you to the stadium. 25-minute walk from the stadium. Wow. There you go.
That's kind of cool.
Thank you. So B-Trav, everybody, he's letting you know. I knew about the train from Newark, but don't forget, driving into Newark is its own issue. Okay, B-Trav. You know, I used to beg at that. I used to panhandle at Penn Station in Newark. You know that, Jeremy? That was where I was. I used to go, hey, man, I got robbed. And they go, oh, shit, man, give me $5. And I'd go get heroin. That's what I would do.
Oh, my God. You did it with a scam, too, huh? You, like, had a whole...
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing with me, like, I didn't have a long beard, but I always had a beard. So what I would do, I always had, like, a razor in my car. So I would keep my beard tight. So I had a sweater, and I would keep my beard tight. So then they could look at me and think I kept my hair really short. So it was like, I could say, like, I'm a businessman. I don't know where I am, and I got fucking robbed.
You're right.
And people I'd always make $20, $30 easy.
Wow.
And I didn't do that for years or anything. But anyway, so that's a rough part of Newark. But he's not wrong. You can do it. You can go to Penn Station there or the other one, and you can take the train in. But the Reds thing sounds like a great idea. Secaucus is much better than Newark. But yeah, there's a bunch of options. Thank you for writing that, B-Trav. So guys, if you get creative, but like, I'm a big fan, B-Trav, of like, especially when I'm going somewhere new, I'd rather, like, this is just me. I'd rather pay the extra bit of money to not have the variables. You know what I mean? Like, I just like to, like, if it's 20 more bucks, 30 more bucks, 50 more bucks, I'd rather just pay the $50 and just go right to the spot. You know what I mean? Like, rather than like everybody telling me, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it. You can do this and take that and you save $30. As much as I want to save $30, I just tend to lean toward, screw it, just pay it. Just pay it and make it easy, because I don't want it to, you know, again, more variables, more potential for me to have mistakes and have bad things happen. But if you're from the area, dude, why not? Go park at Reds, call them, make sure. You know what I mean? Do something like that. So let me see here. Wow, I'm way behind on the chat. Where's it? I don't see super chats. Oh, there's one. There's one.
Jets New York 102.
Okay, there he is. Jets New York 102. Check it back. And he's on paper, we're stacked. It all comes down to Zach. It does come down to Zach. Now, the other thing, 102, is that we have to be healthy, right? Like I talked about it a few weeks ago in my podcast. Now, if you guys didn't hear it, I'll rephrase it now and repackage it. Hey, do me a favor. Turn the air conditioning on for me. Like, go down to like 73. Sorry. I'm like, I started this show with my sweatshirt on. I was freezing. Now I'm like, I think I'm hitting menopause. Did you put it at 73? Okay, thank you. What was I saying, Jeremy? I completely forgot. You remember?
I was sneezing.
Shit.
We talk about Reds. If you're local.
No. It was after. So he says, okay, on paper we're stacked. Oh, the health of the team. So as we know, and this has kind of been, it's interesting that I don't hear more people talking about this. For me, it's like one of the most important things.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about it ever. Like the press has zero interest in how the new medical program is landing and what they're doing. They could care. They'd rather rehash the same Mekhi Becton's fat story than do a little bit of journalistic work and talk to these doctors and find out the specifics. What is it that's so special about what you're doing? But I think it's one of the biggest things that's going to make or break this regime is Joe Douglas identified a major problem, gutted the whole place, and didn't just replace people, reshaped it. Like it's a whole new program led by Dr. Deweese, player-specific protocols, and it goes down. He's got a doctor or a nutritionist above every other department, and they all report to Dr. Deweese, which I think is just fantastic. Now, we don't have returns on that because last year they were rookies too. They're just getting there. They can't have an impact on the team as a whole in their first couple months. So they just had their first offseason. So we look, though, and we see guys like Zach Wilson looking better than ever. He gained however many pounds, 8 pounds of muscle. You look at Denzel Mims. Now, granted, he was training elsewhere, but they gave him a protocol as well. So you look at all the returns on some of these guys, it looks pretty good. Now, if this medical, nutritional, and everything can actually have the impact that we're hoping, it's going to be a huge deal. And like you said, it comes down to Zach, but it comes down to Zach if what we put in front of him and around him actually stays on the field. If he has an opportunity to grow with his offensive line, with his running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends, if they can grow together. Like imagine this, Zach Wilson with Breece Hall, Michael Carter, Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, Denzel Mims, and Berrios for the next 3 to 5 years. You know what I'm saying? That's what we need. And they play more games than they're not. Like, when I look back at the old Jets and they played every year. They played 10 years, 15 years, and it's all 16 games. Like, we don't see that anymore. And that needs to change. It needs to change. In my opinion, if those guys can stay healthy, protect, and catch his passes, I think Zach Wilson's going to be fine. I think he's going to be good. I do.
Me too.
And as you know, Jeremy, I wasn't on the Zach Wilson train. You know what I mean? I liked him. Mm-hmm. Very similar to like Sauce Gardner. I like Sauce Gardner, but that was not the guy I was pounding the table for.
Right.
But I like him. What do you think about Zach Wilson? You think you same thing? Are you feeling nervous? A lot of people express to me that they're nervous about Zach. Where do you stand?
Well, Jeremy on Scotch says this will be the year he's got 40 touchdowns and everything. But sober Jeremy believes he can take who's being more realistic is saying same thing. Assuming we stay healthy, I think he could take a nice step forward. It's not like he's going to be the Patrick Mahomes explosion or anything like that. I'm thinking reasonably around 30 touchdowns, 8 to 10 interceptions, closing in on 4,000 yards if they stay healthy around him. And I think that would be a very, very nice step for him if that happened.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Like as beautiful as it would be for Zach Wilson to come out and have like an MVP season, that would be fantastic. Having that as my expectation, that's where I get discombobulated. Like if I start believing that shit and it doesn't happen, I'm in danger of being, disappointed and all that kind of stuff. But I think like what Jeremy just said, if he comes out and he has a good season, efficient, let's say 25 touchdowns, 10 picks, something like that, maybe he rushes in for 2 more, like that kind of thing, and he's throwing for 250 a game. Dude, I'm with it. Like Frankie says, the target number is 65%. If he can get to 65%, which he might not, he might get 62, 63, but if he gets to 65% completion percentage, and that's not all him, that's his receivers too.
Yeah.
They got to catch it, man.
Yeah.
Then we have a whole different season on our hands, Yeah. Stephen Ingle letting me know that that I said something he agreed with. I don't know what it was. I think maybe it was this panhandling.
I think that was the health thing. I think probably like the health about
oh. I thought he was saying, that's right. You can make $30 a day at Penn Station.
Kevin C is next up with the super chat.
Yeah, I see him. I know. That's good. I didn't know. I got to check in with Jetnation. I just talked to Phil yesterday. I gotta have a real talk with him. We haven't talked in a little while, a few weeks. But Owen, just so you know, Owen, you should go, dude. I telling everybody, like, if you're feeling like you might want to go, go. We're going to do the Coney Island thing the day before. We're going to do the Jets chant from the Cyclone. Dude, make it a weekend, man. Come on up. Get up there Friday morning. You know, eat a Taylor ham, egg, and cheese in the morning. Eat I don't even know. Maybe you're from New Jersey. And you're like, dude, I eat Taylor ham and egg every day. But I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Like, make a thing out of it. Like for me, dude, I'm going to literally schedule every day. I know exactly where I'm eating. I am not playing games this time. I'm making it back to the Reservoir Tavern in Boonton. I'm making it back there. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to me and Zach are going to do. He's going to take me on a Brooklyn food tour. We're going to do a couple places that I haven't hit in Brooklyn yet. I'm doing some of that. I think I'm going to stay at Zach's house that night. My sister's in Staten Island, so I might not need to, but anyway, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right. I'm making a whole week out of this thing. I'm going to see people. What?
Whose house?
Zach Exchange.
Oh, Zach. You were saying Zach. I was like, you know Zach Wilson? Yeah.
I'm staying at Zach's house, man.
You know, I can't decide what I'm more upset about missing. The opener or the Coney Island? Like,
I would love it if you came, dude. That would be great.
I haven't given up, so
just do it. Like, you got to look at like what the obstacles are, right? Here's what I do. I look at the obstacles and I say, is that obstacle so important that a year from now, I will look back and say, I'm glad I didn't do it because of that obstacle. Like, you know, for example, you have a big job interview, you know, you have a huge thing at work, like something really important. Of course, you can't do it. You know what I mean? It's that simple. But if you're just like, I don't know, I just spent money on another trip and it's going to be a few $100, like, do it. You won't care about the money. The second it's spent, you won't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know, but that's just my 2 cents. I'm not necessarily, nobody's ever called me a finance guy.
it's not even the money. It's more the work obstacle more than anything. It's
work is right. You got it. And you got to respect that, right? You got to.
It's just,
but if you set the landscape now, put it in the motions now, you got months. And then they're like, oh yeah, I thought you weren't going to be here that week. You're like, that's right. I'm not. Just start laying throwing out the seeds, man.
Yeah.
So Vino says it sounds like a week 1 tailgate in the making. Dude, Vino, it's going to be epic proportions. Like this year, like a lot of us hung out and shit last year, but this year, like the mistake that we made was we kind of went all over the place. So sadly, people came and they were expecting us, like me and O'Leary and Ryan and Zach Exchange, they were expecting us to be at a certain spot. And when they were there, we weren't. And we felt bad about that. Like we didn't realize when we were just bebopping and hanging out and having a great time. Like we hung out with Fireman Ed for a little while. We hung out with the Let's Talk Jets radio, Prime Time and Tyson. We hung out with those guys for a while. We hung out with Gotham City for a while. We hung out with Jetnation for a while. Like we were having a great time. And O'Leary, Sack Exchange, and his brother, me and Ryan, we were together the whole time. But again, this year, we're not making that mistake. We're going to be in one spot for the entire tailgate. And if anybody's come, you just come to that tailgate. You know, Sack Exchange, depending on how it works, we still have a little bit to work out from what I understand. But it's probably going to be like you pay $30, $40 and all the food and beer and drinks and everything that you want is covered, something like that. I know Gotham is a little bit more expensive, so I can't speak for them. I know that their tickets just went on sale for it or something I saw on Instagram. So, you know, dudes, like if you have it, like if you're worried about the $200, the $300, whatever it is, like I get it. At the same time, how quickly do I spend, $80 on a steak dinner when I'm in a good mood with my, what I mean? I'll do that anytime I want. I'll just go, fuck it. I want a steak dinner. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's good too, but this is going to be a life altering thing, especially if we end up winning, dude. If we end up winning, it's going to be nuts. nuts. So you should get there. Kevin C checking in. He says, gotta beat Miami October 9th. It's a Jetnation tailgate. Well, I know I got to talk to Phil, man. I really do. I got to call him tomorrow because I want to hook up with them too. But I didn't know October 9th was their Jetnation part. Dude, they do a great job, man. Jetnation's tailgate is beautiful. And they make some banging food, dude. Like every year they do it right. And they're just a blast. Jetnation. So I love hanging out with Phil and his son and everybody else that goes there. But Kevin, if you're gonna go there, make sure I know. I'm gonna do everything I can to get up there for that one too, because I know I'm going September 11th. That's a month later. It's hard. I'm 6 hours away. I'm 6 hours away, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to do that one too. I'll talk to Phil and see what the scoop is. But yeah, dude. And I agree though. We got to start beating Miami. Yeah. We got to start beating them, dude. It starts with them, in my opinion. Like we have to start beating the Miami Dolphins and we have to start splitting with the Patriots and we have to start. It's got to start right at home. We should be able to compete with our division. You know, that's the way it's got to be. Jinpak says you got to be lucky to be good, but you got to be good to be lucky. What do they say? Luck favors the prepared, right? Max is here from Germany. Germany.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, I love it. Welcome, Max. Welcome to where are we? Guess I could say I'm in Virginia because that's where I am. Welcome to Virginia, Max, and Sarasota. Sacramento.
We represent both coasts.
Indeed we do. Damian Rasputin checking in. He says, I just don't want to be looking at draft prospects in November. Tell me about it. Huh? What do you think, Jeremy?
That's like the last thing I want to be doing. But I really, really don't want to be talking about the draft or thinking about good draft position or anything like that.
Yep. I could not agree more. Like, of course, when we have a losing season, like it invariably comes up like we should lose these games. It's smarter to lose these games. And I'm a draft nerd. You know what I mean? I love that stuff, the value and all that shit. Like I've really come to love that. But yeah, I just don't want to care. It's like last year when we beat the Jags, there was a major outcry that we just ruined our draft. With that, because if we would have lost to the Jags, we moved up 2 spots. It wasn't just 1. We went up to 2nd. So I totally get it. Like 100%. I totally get it. But I said it at the time, and I maintain the same opinion. For this team, this young team, that win was more valuable than getting Aiden Hutchinson over Sauce Gardner. That's what I think. Like Sauce and Jermaine Johnson, and the win is better than Aiden Hutchinson. It's hard to say that because Aiden Hutchinson was probably my favorite player in the whole draft. You know, and I have a sneaking suspicion that it was Joe Douglas's too. That's what I think. Now, I don't have any proof for that, but that's what I think nonetheless. But it's
the confidence in when after Jacksonville made that first pick, he turned and he said Aiden, like Hutchinson, like he knew Detroit was taking him. He was confident about it. Like,
yeah. So, you know, that's the whole thing. Like Rasputin is saying here, it's like, in November, I don't want to be weighing out if losing is more valuable than winning. We have a young team. We need to start winning. Like the most valuable thing here's the way this is the truest I can say it. These young guys don't know that they're supposed to suck because they're on the Jets. They don't know that there's a 10,000 pound weight on top of their heads. They don't know that. They're good. They're talented. They have great work ethic. They have hope. They believe. So all them together, they think they can do it. So it has to start happening. Like they can't work their ass off for 2 years on the Jets and never win. They start to think, you know what? People are right. You can't win here. There's something here. There's a thick, and then the fans are, you're fucking bust, man. You know, like all that negativity. Like, we need to start winning games. It is much more valuable than any singular player in the draft. We have to start seeing these kids believe. We need it. We need it, man. Like Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Zach, AVT, Carter, Breece Hall, Michael Carter II, Bryce Hall, Jermaine Johnson. Like, they have to start thinking, we're on to something. You know, we worked hard and we beat that friggin' team. And that they have to start feeling like they can do it. Once hope comes back in, then it melts a lot of stuff. Hope is the great equalizer, man. You know, it changes things.
You can only hold people's beliefs so long without the actual winning. Like, you know, you can only keep people believing and, you know, for so long. I mean, then eventually the losing is gonna, you know, win out on their mental capacity, you know, their mental game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right. You can talk shit only for so long. You know what I mean? It only goes so far. Like, you can rah the troops. You can pull them out of the doldrums only so much. It has to start working, and that's the only thing. Like, as much as I like Robert Saleh, I do. And as much as I like Ulbricht, like I like how these guys are. These are like football guys. Like, I like them. I am worried. Like, that's where my concern, like, people are, you know, they have their focus on one direction or another. I don't have a lot of the same concerns, or they're concerns, but I don't have the same like fears as other people in many ways. But wondering if Robert Saleh is ever going to be like this great head coach, like be able to out coach the Belichicks of the world and the Vrabels and the Harbaughs. I just don't know. You know, I think he can. You know what I mean? He seems like a very, very smart guy. He's well respected in NFL circles. So I think he's got the makeup to do it. And he's clearly inspiring and all those kinds of things. But and I'm definitely not saying I think he's going to fail, but I'm like, that's where I think Joe Douglas is doing a bang up job, bro. I think we are stacking this roster with young premier talent. Young, like, so, dude, for how many years we had these drafts? Like, let's just take a look. Hold on, I'm gonna show you this. Wait, New York Jets. I'm just gonna pick one. Let's say the 2017 draft. Okay, I don't even know what we got there. Oh, this was Jamal Adams. Okay, so here's our 2017 draft. Now, don't forget, we needed a quarterback. We went into the draft. We needed a quarterback. Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes were on the board. Here, I'm going to show you guys. All right. I know. So Deshaun Watson. Now, look, in hindsight, Deshaun Watson, the whole thing, but you can say what you want now, but at the time, the smart pick was Deshaun Watson. All right. Now, can you see this, Jeremy?
Yeah, you're gonna blow. That's good to blow it up. Yep. The more you got, the better.
Yeah, that's it. I'm maxed. Oh, maybe not. Let me see. Here it is. Okay. So this was so again, we needed a quarterback. We decided not to do that because we had Hackenberg. And Bryce Petty. So we take Jamal Adams and Marcus May, two good players, but very, very foolish picks. Okay. Especially one after the other. So then McCagnon knows that he needs a wide receiver. So in the same way that he did the first 2 rounds, let's use the next 2 rounds on the same position. He does this 3 times. He takes Darius Stewart and Chad Hansen. Now, in his defense, they were good prospects. Now, Darius Stewart was considered by many to be like a 4th, 5th round. So he took him early. Chad Hansen went right where he was supposed to go. But again, we had Jordan Leggett in the 5th. He made it 2 years with us, I think. Dylan Donahue, that's the guy that drove not backwards, but the wrong way in the Lincoln Tunnel drunk. That's him. Then we had Elijah McGuire, who, I mean, even when we took him, and we liked him, but it didn't feel like Michael Carter. It's a 6th round pick. We didn't think like, oh, Elijah McGuire is great. it was just like, okay, he's a Jag. He's another guy. He's got some skills. He might be able to help out here and there, but he's definitely never going to be our running back. Jeremy Clark, Derek Jones. Remember that? 2 more cornerbacks. So we wrapped it up with 2 cornerbacks. So we got 2 safeties, 2 wide receivers, 2 cornerbacks. And then in there, we got a tight end, defensive lineman, and a running back. So when you look at that, let's look at 2000. Let's do 16. I forget 2015. I remember what it was, but wait, 2000. I did that backwards. Okay, 2015 draft. Let's see what it is, so we can see here. Oh, this is the one This is 2016. Is it? I just put 15. I'm stupid. So when you look at this one, now we were excited about Leonard Williams, but in truth, we didn't need him. We had Snacks Harrison, we had Wilkerson, and we had Sheldon Richardson. So we did not need Leonard Williams. There's another time that it was a foolish pick, but he was considered the best player in the draft, and you can't pass him, blah, 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 even though 5 teams just passed him. So you take him, and then he goes Devin Smith, who never did a single thing.
No.
Right? Look, his 4 years, let me see. He's got 15 receptions since the draft for 248 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Jesus.
Right? He's got 15 receptions, bro. Then we got Lorenzo Malden, Bryce Petty, Jarvis Harrison, and Deion Simon. Out. It's like it's atrocious. And the thing is that even though we could get ourselves excited for Leonard Williams and Devin Smith for that matter, he was not the wide receiver I wanted. I wanted a wide receiver in the 2nd round. I think the position was right. The truth is I wanted, I think his name was Jalen Strong, and he had 3 good years and then he disappeared. There was a couple other guys that I wanted as well. But so when you look at this draft, even though the first 2 we kind of got a little bit excited about, from then on, it was like, it was such a dud. Like there was nothing to get excited about. There was no sleeper. You know what I mean? In truth, Lorenzo Malden might have been overdrafted. Bryce Petty, he traded up to get him. You know? Jarvis Harrison, look, never played a game. No, I like that it was a guard. You know? So let's take a look at 2016. This is just so we can, like when we're talking about hope and everything else, right? Let's see here. New York Jets. Look at this draft. Okay, so we got Darren Lee. In his defense, the bottom half of the first round is packed full of duds. It wasn't that robust of a first round. There's still some very good players, of course, but Darren Lee looked like a good pick for Todd Bowles, right? But even though it still wasn't a guy that got you all that excited, Christian Hackenberg, people lost their minds.
The worst.
Then you got Jordan Jenkins, who ended up being okay. And I think that he was actually what you could call a good pick too. But then Justin Burris, Brandon Shell, Lachlan Edwards, Jerome Peak. And again, it's like, what gets you real, even though there are some good players in there, what gets you excited about this draft class? Nothing.
I think Christian Hackenberg, that pick this year would have been the number 2 quarterback picked, right? I think only one quarterback, the kid from Pittsburgh, the Steelers, took a quarterback, and then the second quarterback didn't go, I think, until after the 2nd round.
Yeah, I think so.
Just to get some perspective on how high of a pick that is for Christian Hackenberg. It's horrendous.
Yeah, I mean, there were numerous people that said he was undrafted free agent. That's where he should have went. Now, there were other people who said he was draftable, but you're talking about the 4th to 7th round. That's where most people were with Christian Hackenberg. Mike McCagnon almost traded up for him. The rumor was that he panicked. He almost panicked himself out of, like, he almost used another pick so we wouldn't have gotten Sharon Peak. He traded your 7th or whatever. But, like, he thought he was the smartest man in the room. Like, he thought he was fooling everybody. You know what I mean? And because of this pick, this is how bad it's like. Obviously, he's overdrafted and using a second round pick, and it's all bad. Just in a what the fuck's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I want to say petri dish, but that's not it. Like in a test tube. I don't know. It's in and of itself, it's a bad pick. But when you add to it that the reason we didn't take a quarterback the next year is because Maccagnan had him, that's what makes it painfully bad.
Because that's when we passed on. That's when we passed on Deshaun last year.
Yeah, because Maccagnan used the 2 previous years. He took Bryce Petty in the 4th, traded up to get him in the 4th, and then he used a second round pick on Christian Hackenberg. So in his mind, I already filled quarterback, So it's crazy. Let's take a look at one.
Oh. And there goes Bean. So we'll just wait for Bean to come back.
Yeah, I hit back on the wrong tab. Okay. I was like, oh shit. All right, let me get you guys a 2019 draft. This was, and it's funny. It's a funny thing because, again, I've told you guys that as much as I did not like our staff, I didn't like the drafts, I didn't like anything about the Todd Bowles, Mike Maccagnan era, I did believe that Mike Maccagnan was kind of stuck trying to get Bowles his guys. That's what I thought. Now, I was clearly wrong, but I thought... And I sang it from the mountaintops, bro. All over Jetnation, I got my ass ripped constantly. I said, you'll see this is the first draft that Mike Maccagnan doesn't have Todd Bowles. And you're going to see a fantastic draft. I predicted a trade back from 3 to like 10, 12, 15, taking Jonah Williams with your offensive, with your first round pick, an offensive tackle. And then there was a very deep defensive line, defensive end draft. I thought we'd use a second on a defensive end. And let me show you this thing. Hold on.
You thought wrong.
Dude, that draft, that was the first draft that I brought my son into it with me and just said, here, sit down. And we watched the draft together. And I was blown away with how bad it was. I could not believe. I mean, even though, technically speaking, so we needed a defensive end and he did grab Ja'Kai Polite. So again, same thing with Devin Smith, but worse, he's getting the right position at least. But the guy, you're like, what? Dude, he's falling like a stone for a reason. He showed up at the combine fat. They said he smelt of cigarettes or some shit like that. That might even not be real, but people took him off the draft board. So we start again, as much as we love Quinnen, and we do, I do, I could speak for myself. As much as I love him, and I'm happy he's here now because, hey, we threw it all in the toilet anyway and whatever. He was the wrong pick. If we were going to stay at 3, we should have taken Josh Allen, the defensive end. That was the position we needed. All right. We didn't need another defensive tackle. We just used the fucking top 6 pick on Leonard Williams 2 years earlier or 3 years earlier. So then we do Ja'Kai Polite. I started scratching my head even more. And don't forget, right after Quinnen Williams, that's when Adam Gase left the war room. He didn't even spend the time in our war room. The coach left. That's how bad this was. So then we take Ja'Kai Polite, Chuma Edoga again. He got the position right, and he traded up for Chuma Edoga. Let's not forget that. He used his 7th round pick to jump up 1 spot for no friggin' reason. Nobody was doing it. He thought somebody's going to get Chuma and my whole plan's going to backfire. So he just said it's worth it. Let me get a 7th round pick. And anyway, now if you guys don't remember, you might not. I think he traded back in the 4th 2 times or maybe 3 times. He just kept trading back. And he traded back in the 4th to gain positions in the 5th. Does that make sense to you, Jeremy? Lose positions in the 4th to gain positions in the 5th.
I don't
right?
know.
Does it make sense?
It does not.
So anyway, but then you look at the guys, Trevon Wesco, who he was a player I liked. Again, we didn't need him. That wasn't a position of need. We needed, center. Then we take Blake Cashman, always injured. Blesson Austin, always injured. So this was even the worst draft yet. And that's when I realized, oh, GreenBean, you have been very wrong on Mike McCagnon. Oh, GreenBean, I can't believe you stood on that pedestal for a year yelling at everybody. Oh, boy. So, yeah, sometimes you pick a hill to die on, and then you find out right before death, holy shit, I'm not in the right hill. Oh, no, I'm not even on the right hill. So that's why, like, when you look at our drafts now, they make sense, dude. Like, how, again, did I think that the Jets' top need would have been a cornerback? No, I did not think that. But we talked about BPA all year. If they think that Sauce Gardner is leaps and bounds the best player on the board, you don't take need over that in those instances. You got a top 5 pick, you leave with a top 5 player, man. That simple, So it makes sense. And then they still got their wide receiver and they got their defensive end, which was my priority. So you can get a defensive end and a wide receiver. You can get a defensive end and a safety, defensive end and a linebacker. I don't give a shit. We got to get that defensive end. That's why when we did Sauce and Garrett Wilson, I didn't even know what to think. I'm like, I cannot believe that we are leaving the first round again without a fucking edge rusher. I couldn't believe it. But again, it all made sense.
It all came together once it happened, but man, I mean, everyone saw my reactions. I put it up there a million times, but it was brutal until that moment when they traded up. And then it just flipped the whole thing. Just so you know, Jets New York 102. Also, we missed him a while back. He made a second super chat. Yeah.
No, I got this. I got his second one. Can you put it up? I can't get up that high. Let me see.
I can read it. It says we're more prepared for injuries with our depth.
Okay. Sorry, 102. I didn't, sometimes I get on these tirades and StreamYard limits how far I can go back. I wish it didn't do that. Why doesn't it just give me,
It's annoying, but I mean, he said that when you were talking about the health and everything, obviously, and injuries and no injuries. And it's a really good point that we've talked about in the past, like being more prepared for injuries, like really good teams. That's why we have a 53-man roster, not a 25-man roster, like it's, you got to go all the way to 53 because of that. And we, as much as we thought we filled a lot of holes last year, we certainly didn't have the capability in 1 year to build depth in any of the rooms. And I think that is what's different. We can make an argument that there are a lot of rooms on our team right now that have depth.
Right.
So,
yeah. So I don't know, man. It's, as far as our depth, you're talking about, that's one of the things that like we've never paid much attention to, What is that?
Yeah.
Why is he growling at her? Hold on, I'm sorry. I got a brand new puppy. Can I come here? Give me the puppy real fast.
Let me see.
Got it yesterday. This thing is so friggin' cute, but my other dog, as loving and cool as he is.
Oh,
this thing.
Look at that cute.
It's a husky, a white husky. See that?
He's beautiful. Oh, he's very cute.
Hello. See that little thing?
He's very cute.
She, yeah.
Oh, she.
Ow. Get out of here.
She get you one of those little puppy teeth?
Yeah, she's bit my beard. Come here, good boy. My other dog, he's starting to get annoyed with her, I think. But I don't want to hear him growling at her, But anyway. So, yeah, he growled at her. That's just uncharacteristic for him. It's not him. He's a sweetheart dog.
They get jealous,
Yeah, I think that I don't know. She's just he's ready to go to bed, and she's pissing him off. Come here, good boy. Hey, lay down. Sorry, I don't mean to derail the show. Come here, lay down. Hey.
Oh, we could just
All
talk
right.
about
So
it.
Kevin, he says Sports Illustrated in 2015 gave us a B+ in post-draft grade. Dude, we got lots of B+ and A's. Because the way that don't forget, like Mike McCagnon, he comes into town. John Idzik just spent 2 years scraping the cupboards clean. He got rid of all the Tannenbaum mess. He untied all the Tannenbaum knots. Okay. And Mike McCagnon lands here. He's got $80 million, or whatever it was, in cap. So the first thing he does, he goes and gets Revis and Cromartie and Gilchrist and Buster Screen, and he trades for Brandon Marshall, a whole bunch of stuff. So then when we went into the draft and we get the the best player in the draft, he slid to 6th, and it looked like Mike McCagnon's best player available approach. It was brilliant. So they gave him a lot of credit. Like, clearly he knows what he's doing. He's doing a fantastic job right now. And so they gave him a lot of benefit of the doubt with guys like Justin Burris and Lorenzo Malden. Like, who did I want when we'd who's the running back? Duke.
Michael Carter.
No. I mean, there was a running back that I wanted. I can't remember his name. I think it's Duke. I don't know. I don't feel. What?
Oh.
No, Duke. It's a running back. Duke something or something Duke. What is it?
I don't remember.
Somebody tell me in the chat. I know you know who I'm talking about.
By the way, shout out to Sack Exchange, who's in the chat right now. Just so you know.
Yeah, I was just talking about you, buddy. I was just talking about you. Where is he? Let me see what's going on.
Yeah, he's down pretty far near the.
Oh, is he?
Well, like near the, go down to like the 10th to last.
So I was just talking about you, buddy. We're talking about areas. 82 days. 82 days. So this is our buddy, Sack Exchange, as you know. Again, I was literally just talking about him. We were talking about what else, right? Steve, what else were we talking about? We were talking about the opening day festivities. I was letting them know I'm more than likely going to shack up at your joint for a night so you can take me on our Brooklyn food tour. It's funny, man. He's like, nah, dude, if there's anything Sack Exchange is equally passionate about as the Jets, if there's anything, it's food. All right. It's like, and particularly the cream of the crop New York food, and particularly Brooklyn, and Staten Island for that matter. But he'll fight anybody on the values and worth of the food and anything from Brooklyn. So he's got some places. He turned me on to L&B. I had Nathan's before, but we did that for fun, like novelty with everybody.
I grew up on L&B. That was when I was a teenager. That was just every Friday night. And they used to have across the street, you'd have all these cars from the 1950s. There was this club, and all these guys would hang out with their all these like mint condition cars from the 50s, just lined up across the street from L&B on Friday nights. We eat our pizza, eat our our ice cream afterwards. It was that was it, man. That was like the place to be.
So when we do this, guys, when you guys come in, like, again, we didn't nail down the details, but what it's going to more than likely be, is when we go to Coney Island. We're going to go to Coney Island this Saturday before the game. So if you're in town, you meet us at Coney Island. We'll meet in front of the Cyclone at noon or whatever it is. We'll get everybody together. We'll have a good time. We'll do the Jets chant from the top of the Cyclone, ride once, twice. If there's enough people, we'll get 2-3 trains and we do it all, and we film it and we have a great time. And then we'll hang out for a while, and then we'll go over to L&B and we'll have some just banging true Brooklyn pizza. It's a unique pizza too. It's not like everybody else, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
You're killing me. When is the food tour that he's taking you on?
I don't know, probably a day or so. I might go over there like Friday night or Thursday night. I got to see what his schedule is too, because he's going to be a busy boy those days, Yeah. But anyway, I'm glad you're here, buddy. And it's nice to It's nice to see you, but I'm just excited I'm excited, you know. I'm excited about all this. So thank you everybody in the chat. The first one to tell me is Cool DJ saying Duke Johnson, man. That's who it is, right? Why I couldn't get there.
Didn't he go to the Browns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's who I wanted in that third round with Lorenzo Malden. As much as I liked the idea of like an edge, some sort of pass rusher, I wanted Duke Johnson. Everybody's on it though. All you guys got it. I think I was the only one who didn't know.
Me. I was the second one who didn't know.
Yeah. Hey, Buffalo's here. What's up, Buffalo? He's correcting me too. Everybody. Look at it. It's so funny. There's a whole bunch of you. Yeah. Vino says, just taking a guess here. Duke Johnson. Yeah. After everybody. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to have a good time. And, Harry wants to come to the food tour. Harry's flying in, man. Do you know Harry has not been to a Jets game since Shea Stadium, Jeremy? Shea Stadium.
It's unbelievable. I was like 12 when they moved out of that stadium. I was in middle school. I was like 7th or 8th grade.
Yeah, I was still in elementary school, like 6th grade, I think I was.
Yeah, you're like a year and a half. Yeah, you may have been 2 grades behind me.
Yeah. So I was in 5th or 6th grade. But yeah, I remember that. And I only remember it like that. I was too young to really realize like the difference between one stadium and another. I didn't know anything of that. But I remember when they left, there was huge reports everywhere about the Jets fans tearing up the stadium. They were taking the goalposts and fucking walking around. But yeah. So Snowball says, you should record and post that Brooklyn food walk. Yeah. I mean, look, dude, I'm all about content. You guys know that. I'm all about it. So I just got to see, like there's a line, right? Like I learned this on my 2 years on the road with my family. There's a line, like content's great, documentation is great, but there's a certain point where it starts to take away from what you're doing. So I just make sure that I do that. And I'll definitely show you guys. Like, again, I want to make sure I get my time with Sack Exchange. He's my friend and I don't get to see him, but be able to do that. And then we'll record some stuff and give you guys some inside scoopage. But anyway, I don't want to take away from the meeting as well, like the hang,
Yeah, I'm wondering if he has on that train line when you go to Spumoni Gardens, like when you're going from Coney Island. We used to do every time me and my wife would go to Coney Island, we'd stop at L&B, and then we'd go a few more stops for a little while longer. And there's a stop near Flatbush where you can get off and go to Junior's and get some cheesecake.
Oh, Junior's cheesecake. Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, the food there is legendary, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's a whole different thing. It really is. And like, look, I'll always defend New Jersey pizza, right? And New Jersey bagels and New Jersey hard rolls and New Jersey Taylor ham eggs. Like, believe me, I'm a New Jersey food guy. And I think with not just like a homer, like not just, it's not like being from Virginia and saying, no way, man, the Chinese food here is the best. Like,
right.
No, it's not. So I love my New Jersey food. And there are places I think are right up there on par. But the truth of the matter is that, especially if you're going Italian or you want any type of bread, whether it's bagels, Italian bread, French bread, whatever it is, you can't really argue that New York's got it. I mean, and that Chinese food is fantastic in New York. In my opinion, better than San Francisco. And San Francisco is known for their Chinese food. And
I've had a lot of people say that the best Chinese, like, depending on what style you want, like bulletproof, like bulletproof windows and everything, hole in the walls in Brooklyn. But like the upper, like Szechuan style, a lot of people say in Flushing on Main Street that's better than any Chinatown. Even in Manhattan, even in San Francisco, Main Street in Flushing is where like a lot of people will tell you is the best Chinese food.
Yeah. Well, look, when we went to San Francisco, I was so excited, right? Like sincerely excited. Like I love good Chinese food. Love it. And we sat down in a beautiful, one of those real done up kind of, it was a legit joint. We searched around. Supposedly this was one of the places that the locals, like the real Chinese residents go to. So it's not just a tourist place. It's not fucking PF Chang's, you know? And we sat down and they didn't even know what lo mein was. Now, who am I to say what's right or wrong, right?
Yeah.
But I've eaten Chinese food all over the fucking country. Everybody know. But in San Francisco and Chinatown, they didn't know what they had another version of it, but it was different, number one. But number two, it's called something totally different. I never seen that before. You know, like when you order like egg drop soup and you get which I don't eat, by the way, but when you get those crunchy egg noodles,
yeah,
you know, there's like a little bag of noodles that they give you. Yeah. They didn't have those either. They didn't have them.
That's me and my wife complain about it all the time.
What is
things, like where I want the duck sauce, where you mix it with the spicy mustard and you dip those noodles in. I mean, come on, man. And then we can't get a real egg roll out here. I mean,
it's crazy. Yeah, I'm happy. It's like, right. Like it's funny that like we just popped in and we noticed that, but that's actually an issue for you. Why don't they? How come they're the only place? Now, look, it can be argued that San Francisco is the real Chinese food. I mean, because they're right there. The Chinese population in San Francisco is legit, man. Like they came right over. That's where they built. You know, that was like one of the first ones. Same time, get on the same page, man. You should have lo mein and some egg noodles. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I like the Brooklyn. I'm sorry, I like the New York or you know or New Jersey tri-state area interpretation of the egg roll. Big fat fried egg roll.
They are fat.
Well, remember the big thick ones that would come in the wax paper?
Yeah.
Those
what do they have there? They don't have those.
They're like always like spring rolls,
little tiny corny ones.
Well, the outside is not the same texture. It's not that same like
I
outside.
know.
And then it's like the summer rolls that are raw. It's like the rice noodle wrap. I was like,
nope.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not in.
No.
So Dom C, our buddy, checking in. Which, by the way, if you want to pop in, you can, Dom, but it's okay. He says, you better defend Taylor ham, egg, and cheese. Yeah, and it was one of the first thing I said. Taylor, and I want you to know, I know we have a large contingent about that it's pork roll. Now, I'm just going to end this debate once and for all, okay? It is pork roll, but that doesn't matter because it's a Taylor ham, egg, and cheese. And Taylor is the brand that you want. In the same way, you don't go to, you don't ask people if they have a bandage. You ask for a Band-Aid, but that's a brand. You don't ask for a cotton swab. You ask for a Q-tip. Okay. Why? Because that's the brand. That's the one. Taylor is the one. And there is shitty pork roll, man. I've had it. There's bad pork roll with bigger chunks of fat in it, like actually little white cubes of fat. You don't want that. You want Taylor ham. That's what you want. If you have a choice. But Southern Jersey calls it pork roll, like mid to south. North New Jersey calls it Taylor ham. Clearly, I'm from up there, so that's what I do. But there's nothing better.
Have you ever
had one?
When I go to a place, I usually say, "Can I have a ShopRite cola?"
Do you?
No, I'm saying that's like asking, like saying the pork roll Taylor. That was my
yeah. Can I have a cola?
But I've never had a true New Jersey Taylor ham and egg and cheese sandwich. I in New York, more common is bacon, egg and cheese on a roll. We say bacon,
totally.
egg and cheese on a roll. But I would love to try one. I just don't know where in New Jersey do you go for one, because in New York it's all go to the little corner delis and the like stands. Like, so where would you go in New Jersey? Is it the diner?
Yeah, well, right. I mean, the thing is that you can get Taylor ham, egg, and cheese anywhere in New Jersey. Really, gas stations will sell them. But you want to go to a good diner or you want to go to a deli. Delis make in the morning a really good deli Taylor ham, egg, and cheese is unbeatable. But my favorite Taylor ham, egg, and cheese, I haven't done it in years, so I don't know if the quality's fallen off or anything. But it's in the Arlington Diner was my favorite Taylor ham, egg, and cheese. I've been getting it there since I'm a little tiny kid. And it's so good, bro. It's just the best. I can't wait to get it. So Hai Kung Fu checking in. It sounds like that's the kind of name that would know. He says lo mein is American, like fortune cookies. I gathered that, right? That's what I think. But I still think like New York's Chinese food world, they seem legit. Like Chinatown in New York is banging. It's legit there. You got the hanging ducks everywhere and all that shit. But I don't know. They have lo mein. I was just surprised Like I said, I mean, that's Sam Fran. They're probably real, right? Like you're insinuating here, that's probably the real stuff. But I don't know. You think lo mein? Come on, you got to have some lo mein. I'm a chow fun guy anyway these days. I like chow fun.
I'm a chow
like,
fun.
yeah, don't fuck.
Chow fun.
And then there's May Fun or My Fun, which is really thin, like angel hairish, I think.
Yeah, that's good stuff too. V-Man, by the way, V-Man has a super chat for you.
Yeah, I'm right above him. So Kung Fu, I mean, that's the thing. You know, we develop these expectations, right? Like what I want at a legit, authentic Chinese food place. And it's like, well, that's not authentic. Well, I want it anyway. I still want you to call it authentic. You know, V-Man says the key to New York bread is the water, right? The soft water equals good. That's the truth. That's what we know. There have been scientific studies. They know exactly what it is in the water. So there's a place that opened up in Florida. Sad to say, I saw a couple places open up. I saw them close too. There's still a few, but Brooklyn Water Bagel or Brooklyn Water Bagel. And I went in, I'm going to tell you, it was like, you know, it wasn't Brooklyn. You know what I mean? It just wasn't. It was the guy did the whole thing with the water and it still wasn't. I mean, it was good. I liked it, but it was like, nah. Now, when I just went up to New York a couple months ago, and my brother-in-law, who just retired from the fire department in Yonkers, like 35 years or whatever, he went out and he went and got us a big bag of Brooklyn bagels, man. Oh, no, I can't say that. It was Staten Island, but very, you know, same thing. They do it right. Yeah. And it was like, dude, as soon as, I mean, even my kids were like, wow. Because they like Lender's bagels and, you know, all that. You've got to buy them in a bag. They don't know. So my kids they were born in Florida. They grew up in Virginia. They don't know about that shit. So when they tasted the bagels, they were like, wow. Like it's just bigger, the crunch on the outside if you toast them and the nice, it's just totally different. It's totally different. Yeah. So let's see. I want to get back into some football here. We're off the rails, which is okay. It's fine. Slago said General So is American. Was he an American general, Slago? I don't know. Yeah, Boar's Head. Brandon McNeely's New York has Boar's Head. I'll tell you what.
It's in California.
Yeah, but Boar's Head is legit better. It's no joke. Now, their cheeses and all, just so you know, Boar's Head doesn't make cheese. So whenever you see like Boar's Head brand on a cheese, just know it's not. Just that's the truth. Right. But their meats and stuff, like if you put like Boar's Head stuff next to like Thuman's, which is also pretty good, but Thuman's or some of those other ones, no comparison.
There's nothing. I ask for it by name. Every deli that has Boar's Head, I always make sure they're giving me Boar's Head.
Because they're going to give you well drinks. If you will go into some place and you say, let me get a whiskey and Coke, they're grabbing the cheap shit in the well. That's what they're doing. The same thing goes. If they can charge you $8.99 for a sub and one's going to cost them $4.99 and the other one's going to cost them $5.99, they're going to give you the $4.99 if you don't specify. So I do it too. If I see Boar's Head, I go, I want the Boar's Head.
You know when you found the right kind of deli? And I found like some guys from Chicago out here. There's a place I will drive like an extra 5-10 minutes to. And they had all the Boar's Head laid out. And this is how you know it's a real place. I'll order a pound of whatever, Boar's Head ham. And they'll say, how thick do you want it? Right? So I say really thin. The next thing you know, they're handing me a slice on wax paper saying, is this good? Right. That's when you know you found it.
That's when you know. Now, but it's funny. Supermarkets do that too now, like Publix. Let me tell you this. There's every supermarket, every area has their own supermarkets. But let me tell you something. In Florida, I just saw not too long ago, Publix opened in Richmond. But generally speaking, Publix is like a Florida and down south, right? But New Jersey, ShopRite, Pathmark, all those. But when you go to a deli in Publix, so if you're looking for a good supermarket sandwich, Publix is no joke, dude. Like they are way up on the scale. Now it's still not Don's sub shop in Lake Hiawatha back in the day, but at the same time, like supermarket subs are pretty much they're in the same category, most of them. Publix way out. way outside. So Jet King says the cafeteria at my work has great pizza. I just went not too long ago.
I think I know
What do you? He just left. So
It's the hospital pizza.
yeah, we got invited. A friend of ours is like the head. He runs the hospital cafeteria, and they're known for their pizza. And he gave us I filmed it and everything. I never got to put it together, but his chef brought his pizza chef. They have a pizza chef, and he's like legit. And he brought us out all kinds of different pizzas to try and everything. Dude, it was unbelievable. So you can find some good stuff. Look, it's funny. Michael Champion says, he said, I was saying this about my kids. He goes, look, he said, Florida and Virginia, they don't know nothing about my kids. It's the truth. You know, Mike, what's your favorite pizza in the world?
Honestly,
Yeah.
Chicago.
Okay, you like Chicago pizza, but seriously, like, what's your favorite pizza?
Oh, I know what's coming.
Yeah.
I mean,
worse.
wait, what do you mean?
You know what I'm getting at. Just say it.
Honestly, there's this place in Florida.
What's it? No. This kid, he's playing
What?
with me.
I don't like
Domino's
no,
or
it's like,
Papa John's.
I mean, what the heck else are you gonna order? It's like, what the like you?
He likes it.
Of course, I like it. It's like pizza's pizza.
Oh no.
Right, pizza's pizza.
Oh, that
Go
hurts.
grab a slice. He just made this thing. Go grab
I
the.
didn't make it.
Grab the.
It's just freezer.
No, it's fine. Freezer pizza.
Pizza is not
This is
just
what-
pizza.
Like the slice.
DiGiorno's. Here, give me. Just bring the whole wood thing over here. Just bring the whole thing. I'll show you what's going on over here.
Chat mad at me.
See, right.
I mean, it's pizza.
It's pretty good,
A
right?
frozen pizza. I mean,
Yeah, it's frozen pizza.
What are you gonna do? I do that sometimes. We don't want to go out. You know, I run to we got a Rite Aid a block and a half away. I run over there. I grab some DiGiorno. You know.
I bet. Hold on. Let me justify myself.
No. Look, Dom says if he says put pineapple on it, kick him out.
I've never tried pineapple, so no.
Well, you don't even like pineapple, so that's not
I
going to be
do
a
like pineapple. I'm allergic to it. But
look. Pizza's pizza. Stone him.
I knew it. But
What's he saying?
but
You know. So hey,
to
you
just
know what he just did? He pointed to. He saw this out of all the chats. He went right to it. He zeroed in, and he just pointed at this one. He's like, oh, look, Dad. He's 14. You know.
We actually, my best friends owned a restaurant. I grew up in his pizzeria restaurant, and they had a giant sign. I'm not kidding. And he put it up. Pizza is like sex. Even when it's not that good, it's still great.
Right. Perfect. Perfectly said. Yeah. I mean, I find it hard to find bad pizza. I mean, you can go to Chuck E. Cheese. I mean, it's garbage, but yeah, I'll eat it. You know what I mean? It's like Elio's. Remember this, the rectangle Elio's? Remember those things?
Oh, are you kidding me? I bought it as recently as 2 years ago, just because of nostalgia. I can't help it. It's
Yeah.
nostalgia.
I'll tell you what, if you're going to go to the freezer section, the better one is Totino's.
Oh,
Like they make pizza rolls too, but they have this really thin little dollar pizza.
I love them.
Yeah, I love them. I could eat like 9 of them.
never enough.
Wait, let me get back in here though. I saw some stuff. So yeah, Dark Soul just says, sorry, Chicago isn't pizza. It's more like lasagna. Let me tell you a story. For my son's birthday, we were down in Orlando, and there's I can never remember the brand of Chicago, but it's like one of the more famous Giordano's, something like that. And they have a Chicago pizzeria down in Orlando. So my son, for his birthday, he wanted Chicago pizza, and I went and I bought 2 of them. It was like 25 pounds of pizza. And my father comes over. He was down there with us, and he comes over, and we say, we're having pizza for the kid's birthday. And we cut him a slice, and we put it on his plate. My father literally went, "The fuck is that?" And we said, "Oh, it's Chicago." He goes, "But that's not pizza. What is it?" Like what is it? Like he's like a casserole. And so he took 1 bite. Remember this?
Yeah.
He took 1 bite, put the fork down, and left.
He's like, "Happy birthday!" Then
Happy birthday, and left.
He left.
He said, "You can't even eat it, man." But that's it. It's an old paisan from New Jersey, man. What do you want?
He took
Can
it
I
personally.
justify myself?
All right, he wants to justify himself. Then we're going to talk some Jets. I see some
There
super
is
chat.
not really any good homemade pizza around here. Like, barely any that delivers. It's like the
Right.
reason why I
We live in
Domino's
East
because
Jabib.
this is the only
Yeah, you're in
thing.
Virginia, so
The only
Right.
thing
There's a couple places that are okay. You know what I mean? Like there's a place here. It's like New York style pizza. It's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay. And then there's a couple places in Charlottesville that do a good job. But then there's Crozet Pizza, which I've told you guys before. I mean, National Geographic said it was the best pizza in the country. And it's great.
I think I had the pizza in the airport, Ronald Reagan Airport. There's one, and
A Crozet?
maybe
No, I don't think so.
or
No.
Corsi. Oh, I'm thinking Corsi.
Yeah, this is Crozet. They're just a little spot. But interestingly enough, the guy is from New Jersey. The guy who owns started the place and everything. So it's definitely Jersey. It's great, man. It's great. Now, is it the best slice in the world? Probably not. But National Geographic said it was. So there you go. Jetsfan checking in, says he's going to King's Dominion next week. Come through. Well, you know what, dude? I would love to. We're going to go to Busch Gardens not too long. The truth is, guys, is that the next 2 weeks are going to be very rough. We got our clear to close email today. So finally, tomorrow, I'm going to close on this house that I've been buying for months. And we're going to move in the rest of this week. We're going to be moving in. And then we have the whole thing on building a new studio. So I don't know how realistic it is that I can get anywhere. But I'd love to go to King's Dominion, man. We're big King's Dominion fans.
Did you have your interest rate locked already?
Yeah.
Good.
Why did it go up again?
Well, they raised it 0.75 of a point, like almost a full point. About a week ago, or
yeah, I was locked.
Oof,
yeah, I mean, it's still way higher. My last house, I was at 2.93, and now I'm in the fives. And then it just went up. It's like in the 6.5 to 7s.
Wow,
it's crazy.
I didn't realize it was that high. That's crazy.
Yeah. I just missed that super chat. What did I say? I got off it. I did it, right? I did it.
Yeah, because he's asking if you're going to go to King's Dominion.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I don't know if I can, buddy. But have you ever been? We're big, as you guys know, we're roller coaster people. So, but when we have to pick one in Virginia, like Virginia, it's a two-headed monster here. There's a few around, but there is King's Dominion and Busch Gardens. And we are team Busch Gardens. Like that's where we are. Even though it's further away, we can get to King's Dominion in an hour and Busch Gardens takes us 2 and change, but we'll go to Busch Gardens. It's better. Wow. It's a better spot.
That's my first major roller coaster, the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That was my daughter's first looping coaster.
Yep. And I did it with my dad, sitting next to my dad when I was like 11 years old.
It's amazing. That's so cool.
I chickened out. First time I rode it was like a year ago.
Oh, at least you got it. You did it.
So did Ogunjobi sign with Pittsburgh? Is that what happened?
That's what I've heard.
I heard he went to visit them.
Watu K99 sent a text to us saying that they signed.
Yeah, they signed him. Yep, to a 1-year deal. There you go. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Do we have the numbers yet? Let me see the numbers here. Larry Ogunjobi visited the Jets. There was a lot of interest, right? But let me see. No, I don't think they have the numbers yet. I don't see them. But now you could look at it as like Cameron's saying here. Cameron Trammell says Ogunjobi didn't want to be a part of an organization that's trying to turn things around. He wanted to take the easy way and sign with Pittsburgh. That's okay because we're going to stomp them, or we said whoop their ass. Well, that's interesting, right? Because you look at his track record. He's been on rebuilding teams. Like last year they came out of the smoke and went to the Super Bowl, but which he got hurt in the playoffs, sad to say. But maybe that's true. Maybe what Cameron's saying is like, I don't really want to do that. I'd rather just go somewhere that has a history of winning. But people, this is the end, guys. This is the end of that shit. The Jets are turning this around. And the good news with the Jets is that we're not just turning it around for this year. Like we didn't just go get Brandon Marshall, Raul Rivas, Cromartie. We didn't just do that. You know what I mean? We're building it. There is a foundation being laid, and it's going to turn around. And we're going to be We're going to get out of the basement. Now, do we go to the playoffs every year? I don't know. Do we go to the Super Bowl? I don't know. But we are going to get out of the basement. That's where that's the first step. You got to get out of the basement. And that's where we're going to go. But I bet a lot of players do have that idea. But here's another twist. What if he wanted money and Joe Douglas just said, I'm not giving you that money. I'll give you this. We want you. We'll take you, but I'm not giving you a penny more than this. You know? So there could very much be that too. Maybe he wanted very badly to play here. We don't know. But he also knew he was going to be part of a rotation here. He's not going to more than likely get that opportunity to be a big star. You know what I mean? These guys are going to be rotating.
He definitely was. It's probably a money thing because he was going to go to Chicago and they're a wreck. That's who he was initially going to go to. So he doesn't care about what. He's a money guy. He went for the best deal. Yeah,
and look, you can't judge a guy for that, but that's a good point. They were going to give him 3 years, $40 million, and then they he failed a physical and they didn't want him at all. Like he's coming off an injury. It doesn't make sense. The whole thing stinks to me. Something's up because you knew that he was injured. You knew he had surgery. You brought him in. You were going to give him $40.5 million for 3 years, and then he fails a physical. But he was always going to fail a physical. So it had to be something else. It was something other than the injury that they got spooked. They got spooked. And the truth is that you don't want to bring those kinds of guys in. The injury thing, dude, we got to get past it. Did you see in Flight 2022, one of the other pieces that really stood out to me was when they were talking about Laken Tomlinson and Nemja, our director of pro personnel. And they were talking with Salah and some of the coaches, Benton, and Nemja said, it's his durability. Like, so they were talking about that, man. Like, they're not so naive. Like, we're out here talking about these things. Our staff is on it. Like, they're saying, like, they're factoring in the fact that Laken Tomlinson played all of his games the last 5 years. All. He missed 1 game in 6 years. You know what I mean? That is a huge factor. So if you're going to bring a guy in who's injured, like the Jets have been doing that, we know. We know the score. Okay, I'll bring you in, but I'm not giving you $20 million guaranteed, dude. I'm not giving you $12 million this year guaranteed. It ain't happening. I'll give you $3 million with incentives. You know, something like that. And I think that's smart. I think that's smart, you know. V-Man checking in. What's up, V-Man? He says, to quote Delbert Grady, your child needs to be corrected about pizza. I make better pizza than chain pizza any day. Yeah, well, I know. See, they don't. I'll tell you, this is Sack Exchange too. He'll beat you up for it, man. I'm telling you, it's serious. It's serious stuff. But yeah, it's funny, right, V-Man? Well, here's the thing. As I move and into the homeschool dad, right, which is what I am right now, as I kind of evolve into that, one of the things I take great joy in doing is making our own pizzas, but making the dough. My wife makes great bagels, great dough. She makes them awesome. Like, she's good at it. And don't forget, my wife is Jewish, man. Jewish. You ever heard of a fucking Jewish bagel, bro? Okay. You know what I mean? She got it in her genes. So you got me. I grew up in an Italian family, North New Jersey Italian family. Even though I found out I'm Irish, who knew? I didn't know I was adopted till I was 25. So I think I'm a paisan this whole time. And then my wife is Jewish, so there's all kinds of bagel shit. I mean, you know, it's like delis and bagels and pizza. That's our gig. So, but anyway, I plan to make my own pizza with my kids.
My friend got one of those, like, he spent like $500, but it's in his backyard on the deck. It's like a small wood oven. Yeah. And he was the guy, you know, that he was the friend that's father and family owned the pizza place. He doesn't do it anymore. So, but he knows how to make pizza. So he's making little wood oven pizzas now. They got those cool new ovens. You see those things, man? I mean, they're like $300. And I saw one at Lowe's and it was like substantial. Like I felt it and it was like, oh, this is well built, but I don't know how good it is. My brother-in-law in Staten Island, he makes the best pizza, man. Like, it's so, isn't it just, it's amazing.
But he's a fireman, so he's like, that's what they do. They either put out fires or they cook, you know what I mean? Or they lift weights, you know what I mean? So, but he actually uses, if you can believe this, people get pizza stones and all that. He is in construction. He owns a construction company as well. And he had a big piece of, I don't know if it's marble, but a big piece of tile, like a big one. Like, maybe it's not 12 by 12, but anyway, it's probably like 24 inches by 24 inches. And he puts that in the oven and he cooks the pizza on a floor tile. And it's, it's amazing. It's amazing. Wow. Yoshi standing up for Chuck E. Cheese. Yoshi, come on, buddy. We can't do this.
It's probably a nostalgia from when he was young, because he's young, so he probably had his birthday parties there, and
I went to Chuck E. Cheese once and I got sick.
Yeah. See, Chuck E. Cheese is, it changed 2 years ago. Chuck E. Cheese was good. It was a different place. Then it kind of closed down and represented itself, rebranded and everything. And I don't know. It's garbage now. But hey, Yoshi, you do you, my friend. Melvin says, what part of VA? I'm in Charlottesville, or just outside of Charlottesville. So I'm not over in Virginia Beach. It's about almost 3 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes for me. Something like that. So they were telling me Giordano's. That's the one. I was close. Did I say? I think I might even said Giordano's.
That was the one you were trying to say.
Yeah. Let me get back south here. Let's see.
And Chris will tell you that he's like, because I named those places, like Gino's East and Giordano's, and he's like, he's a big no on those. Like, as a guy from Chicago, that's like the tourist stuff. If you're ever in Chicago, he'll tell you where to really go.
Yeah, I heard Gino's is great though. Like, I've heard Giordano's is not very good. Like, as you know.
Yeah, look, I've had them all. I used to travel to Chicago all the time. To me, it was all delicious. I consider it a different food than our pizza. To me, it was like more of a dinner, like knife and fork kind of thing. But Chris got mad at me for saying that, because he's like, no knife and fork. But I was like,
really? You still got to pick it up and eat it like that?
Yes. I was like,
wow.
That's kind of messy though, isn't it?
Yeah. So Adam S. checking in with some football. He says, who is our backup guard? I got good news for you, Adam.
Good guy.
It's a guy named Nesbitt. And he what's his first name again? Damn it. I know it.
H. Something with an H.
I think I want to say Nathan, but that's not it. But
he's the guy from Philly, right?
Yep, he's the guy from Philly. So here's the thing, Adam. He's 24 years old, maybe 25. And Joe Douglas was the guy who scouted him to bring him in to the Eagles. And he's an NFL starting quality, man. Like, he's played in the NFL. He's a significant upgrade over Greg Van Roten being our backup. Significant. So our backups right now look like this. So we have, for the tackle positions, we have Chuma Edoga, Connor McDermott, right? That's who we have. And we have Max Mitchell, who we just drafted. Then the guards, we have Nate. I think it's Nate Nesbitt. That can't be right.
Nate Herbig.
What'd I say? Nesbitt? That's why.
Yeah.
So Herbig. Sorry, Jesus Christmas.
Thank you, David Gerard, by the way.
Herbig. Thank you. Yeah, I got it wrong. Thank you, guys. Nesbitt. David Gerard says. Who's Nesbitt? Talk to me. Who is it?
I had a fraternity brother.
Nate Herbig. You see, so I had it. That's why I was like, I thought it was Nate, but I'm like, that can't be Nate Nesbitt. It doesn't sound like that. So Nate Herbig. So yeah, these guys are busting my balls. That's funny. But then we have Ross Pierschbacher back there. We brought back oh my God, I'm so fucking tired.
Did you say Connor McDermott yet?
Yeah, but the guards, there's another guy that I like, and we brought him back. I want to say Grant Delpit. Is that right? Let me see. Hold on a second. No, but then the backup center is Feeney. Let me see here. I'll get it. Yeah, I got it. I got to look. Hold on here.
I'll tell you something about Feeney is he's in every picture. When Zach is somewhere, Feeney's in the picture. So
he finds his way in.
Zach Wilson. He clings on to Zach Wilson. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, hold on. So I'm really, you guys know this already, but I'm a supporter of Ross Pierschbacher. I think he's exactly the kind of guy that we would like to have around a long time, like a long-term backup. I like him. He can play guard. Grant Hermans, that's another one. But that's not the guy I was thinking of here. Hold on. It's probably in the chat. Can you scan the chat for me right now?
Yeah, well, Dom C says that Grant Delpit is a free safety for Cleveland.
There he is. That's him. That's the guy. Plug it in, buddy. Yeah, I'm all over the place tonight. I'm not sharp. There's Pierschbacher. Hold on. Come on. What is this? Grant Delpit. Where is he? Let's see. Greg Sinat. That's the guy. Where is Dom C when I need him? You know? He's there to bust my chops, but he's
too
not
busy
there.
busting chops. Yeah.
Yeah, he's too busy busting chops.
We got a guy in here who thinks AVT is a backup. What?
Who said that? AVT. What is that? Jets Forever thinks that.
No.
Jets Forever thinks Max Mitchell is our starter.
Brandon McNeely.
Oh, McNeely. What's he saying?
He says, I consider AVT a backup tackle option too.
Yeah. So Iwan says Pierschbacher. It's not Pierschbacher. It's Bacher. CH. But he says now he's really just making up names. I think Nate Nesbitt was is Nate Nesbitt real? Is that a real name? I had it though. I'm in the neighborhood, you know. So I know who I'm talking about. I just can't. I'm tired. Oh, there he is, McNeely. Let's see what he's saying. I'd consider AVT a backup tackle option, right?
Oh,
we have injury.
yeah, that's much
maybe
better.
Our best option. Well, you know, that's a great question. And before I started the show, I was thinking about posing this question. It just never came up because clearly we were much deeper into pizza and stuff tonight. But one of the things I was going to say is, like, in the event we have, let's say we go into the season with Becton and Fant, and you got Chuma Edoga and you got Connor McDermott, or you let one of those guys go and you got Max Mitchell. Good night, buddy. Is it a better move to bring Nate Herbig up into guard and bounce AVT out to the tackle? Or is it better to start the rook, Max Mitchell? Or do you have confidence in either Chuma Edoga, who I happen to like a lot better than a lot of other people, not as my starter, but I think he is a very high caliber backup. I think he can start a few games for you and do a good job. We just got to keep him on one side. He's always like he's doing them both all the time. I think they're trying to make him swing tackle. I don't know if that's him. But so what's a better option? If a tackle goes, let's say Becton goes down. Okay. I don't want to say that. Let's say Fant goes down. I don't want to put anything in the damn universe for Becton. Let's say Fant goes down for a couple weeks. Is it a better idea to put AVT over there and Nate Herbig into the guard position? Or you keep AVT at guard and bounce Max Mitchell and or Chuma Edoga at the tackle spot? What do you think, Jeremy?
Well, to me, it's situational. Like if you're at a point of the season where we're not in playoff contention, let's say this happened week 11 or week 12, and maybe we're better. We have like 6 wins or whatever, but we're not going to make the playoffs. Then I say you don't do it. You leave AVT alone because you don't want to mess with his development and his growth in his position. But if you're talking about a situation where it happened down the line, or like by some miracle we were the Bengals of this year, or in 2 years from now, you have a situation where someone gets hurt, you go with the best possible option. And if AVT is the better option, and we're in the middle of the playoffs, or it's a critical game for the playoff seed or something, at that point, then I go with the best possible option, which could be AVT moving. But I don't do that unless it's a situation like that where we're competing. I don't, because you also have to consider, like, if we're not in contention, there's no point in doing that because I don't want to mess with them.
Right. Well, that makes sense. Now, if we are battling for something, yeah, I mean, well, I think ultimately what the most important thing is, right? You got two aspects of this that are very, very important. Yes, Ross Pierschbacher's real, my friends. They're like, what? Yeah. Ross Pierschbacher was a 4-year starter at Alabama, dude. You know what I mean? He's not a slouch. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a slouch. Let me see. Let me make sure. It might be 3 years. Hold on. Let me see. And then I'll continue my thought here. Hold on. 2-year starter. Is that no? Get out of here. 3 years, I thought minimum. Ross Pierschbacher. Maybe I have it wrong. Either way, he's a star. He started at Alabama, so I think it was 2 or 3 or 3. I think it's 3 years, but anyway, inconsequential. He's got backup, long-term backup written all over him, man, and he's known as a really hard worker and all that. He was the guy I wanted them to draft when we took Wesco. That's the truth. I was screaming Ross Pierschbacher. But anyway, the two most important aspects of that question for me is that, number one, we need O-line continuity. So whatever's going to enable you to continue more of the offensive line continuity is what you want to do. Now, if one guy's much better, then obviously you're going to do that, right? But if all things are equal, whatever's going to, so if keeping AVT at guard and just bringing up Chuma Edoga is smoother than two guys starting, like Nate Herbig now coming in for the first time and AVT playing a new position, that can be rough. You know what I mean? That could be a lot. There's a lot of shuffling on the whole right side of the line is now different. You know what I mean? So that, you look at that. So you want O-line continuity. And the reason for that is because the number one most important thing is no matter what's happening, we need Zach Wilson to be on his damn feet. We need to protect this kid at all costs. Even if he's for 0-6 and he's not getting it, we still got to protect him and give him the opportunity to come back and become. You can't have him be shell-shocked. Like, you can't throw in the towel and let him get killed. You can't do it. At all costs, you have to protect this kid. Yeah. Ryan Jett, did you hear that? That's what I'm saying. Boomer Esiason, I mean, he lost my respect last year too. Not that he requires my respect or anything, but now he's just, I don't know, he's becoming that guy. He's just saying shock value shit. He said he looks fat. And then he said he thinks he's 395 pounds. Like, why? Like, what is it about this kid? He said the Jets should trade him. They do not like him, man. They don't. And there's never been a negative thing about him. Like his work ethic. Yes, he ebbs and flows with weight, but he's a great guy. He's funny. Teammates love him. He dominates when he's on the field. He's not having like an injury history. You know what I mean? He's gets banged up, but he's not like a guy look at Derek Stingley. Like, he missed 3 straight years or 2 straight years. That's not Becton. Like, why can't we just support him and give him a fucking chance? I don't understand. The attacks from the media on the same guys, to me, is kind of bullshit. And if I was the Jets, I would probably call over there and go, hey, dude, why don't you leave my 22-year-old kid alone? Why don't you do that? Like, it's one thing if he does something, but he hasn't done anything. Like, why are you guys attacking him? Now, look, we don't know what he's going to be. We don't know. He might never play another snap for the Jets. I don't know. But the thing that we should do is support him. He's 22. He's 22 years old. The kid, what if he plays, he can have 10, 12 years left for all we know. So I don't know. I hate it, man. It bothers me. And not just because it's the Jets. It's like, why are you attacking this kid? He's never done anything to anybody. You know what I mean? So Snowball thinks Herbig to guard and ABT to tackle. It might make some sense. Joe Douglas likes Herbig. Or some people call him Nesbitt. Depends. No, Raw Power, he did not say, he said that he heard. That's what he said. He said, I heard, or it's bad. I might not be the right words, but he doesn't, nobody has these stats.
How would that be a fact?
How can that be a fact?
This is not like boxers before a match where they get on a scale with the media there. Like, you think the coaching staff would say his weight if that was true? It's ridiculous. Come on.
Yeah. And this isn't exactly the regime that people are running out there with all secret info. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's talking to anything. And again, and so what, dude? What if he ends up playing at 390? Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? If he can play, who cares? I mean, honestly, like, clearly that's not optimal. It's not what you want. But if that's where he ends up staying and he ends up going out there and he can still play, I don't care. I really don't care what his weight is. Just want him to be healthy. And I'm just, look, let's let him actually play. Like this poor kid, he's done nothing wrong. And they just will not stop. It's a weekly thing. There's an article about Becton weekly. And it's just sad to me.
Every once in a while, they take a break and they write something bad about Mims.
Yeah. Well, you know what they're doing now? They're, instead of writing negative things about Mims, the way that they're taking it, and you guys will see, you guys know what I'm talking about. All of a sudden, they're pumping up Jeff Smith. He looks so good. It's going to be real hard not to keep him on the team. Like, that's the same thing. I want, Jeff Smith has been here for 4 years.
Yeah.
He's never done anything. Okay. He's been here for 4 years. Let me take a look and see. When is Jeff Smith Jets?
Country Club Connor is quoted as saying he's the star of OTAs.
Yeah. Star.
Well,
yeah. How well has that worked out for us? Stars of OTAs. Now, and I'm not saying, that I dislike Jeff Smith. It's nothing like that, but the pumping up of Jeff Smith. So he's been here 3 years. His best season was in 2020 when he had 17 receptions. He had 8 receptions last year. You know what I mean? Now, he's been here 3 years. He's never done a single thing. So why is it that just because Jeff Smith is catching a couple passes, they're pumping him up like he's somehow a star? And it's like, I see the same thing with Lawrence Cager too. Like, who wouldn't want Lawrence Cager to be great? He's got this, you can't teach what he has. The problem is he's never been able to stay healthy. So you cannot depend on him. You want to keep him on the practice squad and see if he could stay healthy for a whole season on your practice squad? Sure. But you can't cut, in my opinion, you can't cut a Yaboa or somebody like that for Lawrence Cager because it's not his talent. His talent's never been a problem. Never. His work ethic isn't a problem either, from what I understand. It's his health. So that's what it is. Anyway, it's just so that's the thing. They ripped Mims. He comes back. He looks great. He looks sharp. He looks strong. He's catching passes. So instead of battering him, they just move over and pump up his competition. It's the same thing, guys. I want you to know that.
Yeah.
It's all motive driven. It's the same reason, why the hell do you think Rich Cimini, who is the number one guy leading the anti-Becton brigade, I want you to know that. Why do you think he asked Michael Clemens that if he could play tackle? Has anybody ever asked you to play offensive tackle? He went, no. Why the fuck would they ask me to play offensive tackle? It's like asking, a quarterback, have you ever been asked to play defensive end? It's like, it's dumb, but there is motivation there, guys. Don't think it's just a haphazard question. It's not. You know what I mean? It's not just a random question. It's because Rich Cimini told everybody that would listen, the Jets need a tackle. They're going to cut or trade Becton. They're going to draft Icky, blah, blah, blah. None of that happened. So now instead of that happening, what he's trying to insinuate the Jets are still replacing Becton. They're doing it on the sneaky sneak. It's silly. What's up, Dom C?
Gentlemen,
up,
all this Nesbitt talk, I had enough. I had to get on here and clear the air here.
Right. So listen, first of all, I don't appreciate you correcting me like that about Grant Delpit. So I want you to apologize.
I was just making it known that you're in the ballpark, right? He's an NFL player.
He's an NFL player. He does play football. He is a real name. Yeah. So I know it's and that's the thing. If you look at all these articles, it's starting to, it's sad to me to see that there is no source. Just so you know, right now, there's some articles popping up right now about the Jets tried to trade for AJ Brown, right? That's the word right now. If you backtrack that report, it's coming from the same guy who started it in the first place without any source, without any information. He said, keep an eye on AJ Brown. He played in the same school with Elijah Moore, and they're really good friends. That's what he said. That became a huge thing. the Jets never traded for him. Now he's saying, I got it on good authority that they did try to trade for him. It's the same guy. There is no source. And people take this shit and they go, reported by this guy, blah, 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 blah. And that's the way of the world right now. Even guys that are like, friends of mine. You know what I mean? Like out there, I look at their shit and I'm like, man, you're jumping in on that too, huh? It's like my boy Dom C, he doesn't write like that. He doesn't put that garbage out. He does his research and he tells you stuff. That's what he does. He doesn't say, it was reported by this guy who has no source, but I'm using him as a source, so now it's legitimate. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, Dom? What do you think about all this?
Loud and clear, buddy. Loud and clear, man. Take everything. The wisest statement I ever heard was, and now I can't even quote it. What is it? Believe half of what you hear and 25% of what you see, or half what you see and 25% of what you hear.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. So, Dom,
yes, sir.
We just released your article today on the running back room.
Yes, sir.
It's pretty good, dude. Now, I will say this: I'm gonna. You guys know, I happen to be a supporter of one LaMichael Pirine,
and I will say this. I will say this because I knew you were gonna chime in on the LaMichael Pirine piece or lack thereof.
Yeah, because he didn't add him to the room. He predicts the room.
I predict the room. I will say this. I've heard a lot of good things about LaMichael Pirine in this OTA, that he came in looking leaner, looking a little bit quicker. So, it's a prediction, and if you read my article on GreenBeanjetsfan.com, shameless plug, you'll see that I say, my fourth running back, my fourth tailback on the roster, I put as Zonovan Bam Knight because I kind of hold him dear to my heart. He was the guy he was one of the first running backs that I really, really dove into in this draft class, and I really had a liking for. I had a draftable grade on him. I thought he was a fourth rounder. I thought he was in that realm. I thought he was right in the realm with James Cook and Damian Pierce and all those guys. I thought he was as good. Something, maybe it was injuries that he had, nagging injuries. Something made him drop into the undrafted free agent. So in my article, I do say that.
Yeah,
I'm predicting him more so out of kind of a finger cross. Like I feel like I know the guy. I feel like
there's a little bit of rooting going on there.
Absolutely.
Well, the thing is, what's good about it though, guy, and if you haven't read it, it's worth it. If you haven't read Dom C's stuff, it really is fun. Like, it's an enjoyable read. It's not the traditional stuff. It's good. Like, it's really good. I love reading it. I love editing it and putting it out. But one of the things that you do though, like, yes, there's a little bit of root and there's a little bit of kind of hope in there, but you say as much, but there's also enough data. Like there's enough support for what you're saying. And wouldn't it be great though? Honestly, wouldn't it be fantastic? Like, you guys know, I support LaMichael Pirine. But wouldn't it be great if an undrafted free agent that we brought in could give us more than LaMichael Pirine can? And our running back room is Breece Hall, Michael Carter, Tevin Coleman, and the undrafted free agent kid. And he's, he's a value of like a fourth round guy kind of a thing. Wouldn't that be, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with our running backs, coming from that lineage, undrafted free agent. I want Joe Douglas's undrafted free agents to hit. You know what I'm saying, Dom?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you? And listen, his skill set is very similar. I mean, not the athletic profile, but he's got the same kind of skill set as Tevin Coleman. He excels. Zonovan Knight excelled in special teams. He was a great returner, both kick and punt. So Tevin Coleman's long in the tooth. Tevin Coleman serves a purpose on this team. I know right. Jeremy and I talked about it a little bit on Sunday. He's the old man. He's the veteran in a running back room where even if it's Pirine, just say it's Pirine's tailback number 4. He's 24. Michael Carter's 23, and Breece Hall is 21. So you have somebody in here with a veteran presence who's been in this offense in his last 3 stops. This is his 3rd stop running this offense. He knows it inside and out. You need one of those guys on the team. You need one of those guys in the room, right? So, listen, my whole thing with Lamar Jackson, and I hope everything that I heard that he came in slim, he came in hungry, and he looked real good in OTAs. This coaching staff didn't pick him, right?
Right.
He wasn't a selection of this coaching staff, so he's got an uphill battle in just that alone. You know what I mean?
He does.
So
But that's the kind of I got to tell you, that's one of the things that bothers me a little bit. Is that I feel like that's a pretty consistent thing with this staff. Like you look at the guys who are having problems, like it's the 2020 draft class. It's like it's Becton, it's Mims, it's Pirine. And I just look, if that's the truth, like honestly, I'm a fan of the team. Ultimately, all I want is the best players to play. But it seems to me like there might be a little bit of more of an uphill battle because they're not their guys. And that bothers me a little bit because it's not like they're all a bunch of old heads or anything. Like they're young. They were only here 1 year. I would like to see our coaching staff give a truly fair shake to everybody. And again, I don't know if they aren't or not. It's just the way that it seems to me. And that if that is the case, it bothers me a little bit. So, guys, I want to tell you, I'm putting the link to Dom C's latest article in the description of this very video. So if you are interested, you can refresh and click on it, and you will be able to get there. Like when you're done here, I'm telling you, Dom C is fantastic. I mean that, and he's just scratching the surface. In 10 years, I'm going to be working for him. You'll see.
But Dom, our running back room is not as good as Baltimore's, right?
Well, listen, our running back room, I'm going to put a grade of to be determined on it. That's exactly how I feel. It's really, there's so much more than just the running back talent. I love Breece Hall, and I think he's going to be a phenomenal football player in the NFL. With the chance to really, really be something special. But he hasn't shown anything yet in the NFL, right? Let's see if everything comes together. Michael Carter, great. If you're a Jet fan and you don't like Michael Carter, go get your head checked. Like it's hard not to like a guy like that. Good attitude, good personality. You can tell he's a team first guy. Very positive, very upbeat. A heck of a player. It's hard not to like these guys, but let's see how it all puts together. Breece Hall is not going to alone, as much as I like him. Breece Hall alone is not going to fix the offensive woes that we had last year, right? It's going to be another step it's going to be Breece Hall tied in with another step from Zach Wilson, with another year of better offensive line play, with multiple weapons on the outside flanking Zach Wilson and at tight end. All this stuff has to come together. That's what's going to make that. You can have a fantabulous running back and have a crap offense. Look at the Giants with Saquon Barkley. They drafted him number 2 overall, number 3 overall, something like that.
Yep, rookie of the year, the whole thing, and a
phenomenal talent with nothing left. That might work at in college or so on and so forth. It doesn't work in the NFL.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So that's a good point, man. It's hard to say that we are as good as the Ravens running backs because we don't know.
Right. J.K. Dobbins is a phenomenal running back.
Yeah, if he comes back, he didn't play at all last year, right?
No. I think it was either an Achilles or an ACL, one of the two. Did it in preseason, so But he's a special talent. Yeah,
and we'll see. But an Achilles for a running back isn't exactly good news either.
True.
So Iowa Jetsfan checking in. He says, I want to just tell you that Nate Nesbitt is a fashion model. See, I'm right. So hey, at least I'm in the right ballpark, right? Nate Nesbitt. Well, it's funny, man. That's a funny thing. Where the hell does Nesbitt come from? There has to be a Nesbitt. Now, I clearly heard I was wrong, right? But I'm still playing with it. It's funny because I knew it's like Nate. And I couldn't get there.
There is a Nesbitt in the NFL, I believe. Oh no, was that Nassib? Carl Nassib, outside linebacker for the Raiders.
Right.
Close enough.
But that's not
Nesbitt NFL. Let's see who it is.
So
Demar Nesbitt. He's a guard
He's a guard, right?
for the Panthers.
Oh,
Oh no, he's Saints now, but he was drafted by the Panthers. I don't know where he is, but yeah. So I don't know. I had him. I was right. That's what I landed on. I was right. Jets forever saying P. Ryan looks great. A couple other guys. Yeah, he said that Michael Carter himself said P. Ryan looks amazing. I want to remind everybody too. Like, one thing I want you to know, I don't think LaMichael P. Ryan is our answer at running back. That's not what I'm saying. I think I like to have good guys on the team. I like when you like to have your second, third, and fourth. I like those guys to be of a certain quality. Once you start getting down to the mids, like your second, third tier, I want those guys to be consistent over flashy. That's me. That's what I prefer. I'd rather have guys that they're going to come in and give you 4 yards a carry rather than, Ty Johnson, who could give you an 80-yard run, but he also drops passes, gets run over by the linebacker, and he fumbles. You know what I mean? That I would rather. P. Ryan is a very consistent guy, but last year, guys, in preseason, he was actually making a case to be the starter. He was making a case and he got injured. So I'm just, we can't, like he said, he put out a tweet not too long ago. He said, sleep on your boy.
So the thing you got to also remember, and again, I'm not going to sit here and defend or try to make the case for Zonovan Knight, but when you get down to that, extra running back, fourth running back, or whatever position it is, fourth or fifth linebacker, fourth safety, so on and so forth. Where can they add value to the team? If they're going to earn a spot on the 53-man roster, where are they going to add value? And that's what Zonovan Knight can bring. He brings the special teams abilities. Piron doesn't play on the special teams. Zonovan Knight can play on gunner if he needs to. He's done it. That's again, these are the little nuances that when I put together that running back article, I took into account for as well.
And it's important. Look, man, having that ability to play special teams is important. Interestingly, like Westhoff said, Coach Westhoff, who was on here a couple weeks ago, he said to us, look, the truth is, sad to say, that the impact that special teams is having, particularly kickoffs, it's being minimized, it's trimming. So the idea of being able to keep guys on your roster for special teams, like we used to, he said that's being limited somewhat. It's not the same. So you have less of those guys. But when you can have a guy that can be a legitimate, just keeping it to running back, you can have a guy who's legitimate three, and he can play specials is valuable.
Correct.
That has value. No doubt. So let's see. J.E. Allen with the bright purple super chat. Thank you, J.E. I appreciate that, man. Good question, too. He says, so does Becton proving his doubters wrong mean he's going to bring his weight down or that he plans to dominate at his current weight? JETS. Well, you know what I would say? I would say that I don't think that the focus on these intricate aspects of what he is as important as his play. So, if he's 10 pounds overweight, okay, maybe they'd like to get him down, but if he's playing his ass off and he's doing well, I think it's less important. The issue with the weight comes in with injury, right? That's the thing. If he's going to stay healthy, the idea is that if you're lighter, you'll have less of a chance of getting injured.
Correct.
That sounds logical, right?
And not so much less of a chance, I think, of getting injured, but there's that. It's just the law of physics. There's less strain on the joints and the ligaments and stuff like that. If you cut and plant at 300 pounds, it probably is a big difference in the amount of force than if you're at 390. Now, I'm not saying that Becton's going to be down to 300 pounds, but you get what I'm saying. The less strain and stress that you put on these joint and ligaments, especially these big guys, the better opportunity they have to avoid those major injuries,
Yeah. And it makes sense. But just to answer J.E.'s question, it's I think it's probably somewhere in the middle, you know what I mean? But I would say if there's a goal, it's for him to dominate. That if he can't get his weight down for whatever it is, which I don't think is the issue. Again, he was never 400 pounds last year. There has never been a confirmed report. Never. There's never been a confirmation of that. other than Rich Cimini insinuating. I'm telling you, I backtracked all this shit. It's always Rich Cimini, and there's never been a firm thing. Never. Okay. So now that doesn't mean he's not. I mean, 100%. But I'm just saying we've never had. It's only one person saying it out there, and everybody's just kind of running with it. So if he's if he ends up being at like 380 and he plays well, I guess you got to roll with it, and you make sure you have enough depth that if you are concerned about it, then you do it. But again, we saw the guy play. He's 22 friggin' years old, dude. Whatever he's got to learn and shit about whatever, he already showed he can play at an NFL level. If he doesn't get rolled on last year, we could have a whole different conversation. We don't know. He got rolled on.
Yeah, but to J.E. Allen here, I think the question's very, very simple. If he's 600 pounds and he's pancaking guys and dominating, does anyone give a shit about his weight?
Nobody.
I don't. Not at all.
Nope. And that's my point. Right.
Yeah. If he's on the field and he's dominating, then who cares about this weight? The fact, some of these guys, especially the local media or the true Mekhi Becton, haters, they're going to pick at straws, and if it's not Mekhi Becton, it's Zach Wilson, right? If you don't like a guy, you're going to find something to point out that you don't like the guy. So, I think I don't want to put the cart before the horse and say that he is the big bust or that Zach can't be the franchise. We haven't seen anything yet. Last year was a whole, or even Mekhi Becton's season was lost last year, but as a whole, it was just a wash. It was a learning experience for everyone.
This is all based on a video on Twitter of him from far away stretching. You can't tell how loose his clothes is. He's at a weird angle. Then he stands up and he looks like any offensive tackle in the NFL. And every other video that we've seen in the past 2 months of him working out, he looks great.
Right.
You got a bot in here.
Yeah.
Oh, let me find it.
Oh, the naked hoes are back. There they go. I'm trying to show you guys, but for some reason StreamYard doesn't. I don't know what's going on with it. It's like it's not sharing. I want to show you guys something here. Yeah, it won't do it. Check. I got to go to Google Chrome and reset my settings. All right, let me try this way. Hold on. Let's see here. Connor Hughes. Let's see. Iquanu. Let's see here. Funny. Let me see here if this is the one. I hope I can show it. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but nope, that's not it. One more. Take a look here. And see. No, I can't find it. But anyway, I have it, but if for some reason it won't share my screen. But it's just funny, like when you look at these guys and what they talk about and everything. Like, why is it that we have so many articles about 2 guys, 3 guys?
Right.
Why? Because they have narratives, guys. Like, that's what it is. And like, look, what my whole side of this is like, I just think that we should support our players. You know what I mean? That's what I think. I think we should try to support our players. And now if they're doing something wrong, like Sheldon Richardson, when he fucking drove around high with 120 miles an hour with the minor in the car, that's a different story. Marcus May, crashing into a lady drunk and then covered in vomit, sleeping on the side of the road. Yes, let's talk about that. But Mekhi Becton, he's done nothing. He's a kid. He's just became a dad for the first time. Like, can we give him a breath? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. Let's see here. I got to catch up a little bit.
Yeah,
Shivansu Prasad. He says we should be better and accept 7 to 9 wins. But I wonder if the NFL is trying to screw us with the schedule to start, take our wins out. Yeah, well, that's what David Carr was saying. He said, "Look, it looks to me like the NFL's got something on the Jets here. Like they're screwing them. Like, why do that to them? Like, they could have very easily folded in a Chicago Bears for us in the first 9 games. They could have folded in 1 Jaguars. No, we got to play Buffalo. the Patriots, obviously. Then we got to play the entire AFC North. We got to play Green Bay and Denver. It's like the whole front half of the season is a gauntlet. Now, it is what it is. But again, it doesn't seem like it's weighed out appropriately. Now, if we can make it through to the bye with 4 games, 4 wins, dude, we got a good shot of coming out with a 9-10 win season. We do. Now, I'd love to win more. You know what I mean? It's going to be real nice when we come out and they realize that Lamar Jackson is still still on his decline, and J.K. Dobbins isn't 100% yet and all that, and we just bloody up their nose. That'd be great. But it's not, look, what's likely to happen is we're going to lose some of those games up front. That's the truth of it. You know what I mean?
Listen, we would have had to play them in the beginning of the year. We would have had to play them in the end of the year. Do you like seeing that those first 6 games lined up the way they do? No, but I don't know if the NFL has anything out for the Jets, but I think what they do is they say, okay, we want these games in prime time, or these are gonna have the main media attention, and then they fill in the rest. And right now the Jets at 4 and whatever are part of that filler. If they got to take a bath so that we can see Russell Wilson play in Seattle, on prime time, and then instead of playing Seattle week 2 or week 1 of the season, then that's the path we're going to take. How do we beat that? We get better and we start moving up the pecking order in when they're setting up that schedule. And that's coming, man. That's coming.
Yeah. Well, that is what's coming. Like, again, like we got to remember, like, we get people in here like even to say, oh, the Jets are going to lose, blah, blah. Like for us, it's not about, it's really not. Now, again, we want to win every game and do it, but that's the goal. But it's really not about that this year. It's not. It's about 7 to 9 wins. That's what this year is about. It's about that continued upward trajectory. That's what it's about. If we can compete, we have been a team that has been just poorly mismanaged for a long time. Terrible GMs, coaches with too much say, the wrong hire, guys who didn't get along. Like, dude, the last few, think about it. Rex and Idzik they did not get along. Okay. They were kind of at odds. Then we hired Todd Bowles before we hired the GM. Mike McCagnon and Todd Bowles were always like this. Then we hired Adam Gase. Adam Gase hates Mike McCagnon so much, he made it to 1 draft pick and left. He saw him pick Quinnen Williams and left. He left the war room, dude. I've never seen more of a petty crybaby move in my life, but he did. So this is the first time that we have a staff that's on the same page.
Yeah. Yep.
So
in a long time, absolutely.
Right. So we have to remember, like, you're not going to come out of that after a 2-year a teardown. Like, we think about how different this team is, from the coaches to the players to the medical to just it's team wide. Everything is different. It's all had to change. We're not going to go from that. For 3 years ago, I should say, the coach leaving the war room because he didn't like the GM, to where we are now. You're not going to do that and be a Super Bowl team.
No. And that started right off the bat with Gase when he started criticizing the Le'Veon Bell signing. I wouldn't have paid that much for running back, so on and so forth. I mean, the paint wasn't even dry on the Adam Gase on the sign on his door, and he started starting to criticize. That was what a debacle. But,
right. And think about another thing that Adam Gase did to show you how much he didn't like Mike McCagnon was the moment McCagnon was fired. And before we hired Joe Douglas, Adam Gase was the interim acting general manager. He took his 1st round draft pick from a couple years earlier, Darren Lee, and sold him off for a 6th round pick. Now, he didn't do much, so it is what it is. But that was like Mike McCagnon's office wasn't even packed yet, and he was trading away his 1st round picks. That was a shot. You know what I mean? That was a kick to the groin. That's what that was. And like, that's where we're coming from, guys. We got to remember that we're coming from that. So it's going to take a minute. If you can't see the difference, And yeah, I'll show you one little clip here. Let's watch this little clip, and I'll show you. Tell me if it's not different. Where is it? Let's see right here. We'll do. They knew who they wanted. They had a number one player, and it was not the guy the Houston Texans pick. And watch this.
The New York Jets are now on the clock. Yes.
So did you see the spin move? Like, nobody's going to say that Joe Douglas doesn't hold himself as a professional. He's tight-lipped. He's close to the vest. He always knows how to say the right thing. Company speak. He's that guy. He's very respectful. People can throw him under the bus. Oh, remember Marcus May's agent? Joe Douglas, the worst GM in all. I hate him. And he just said, hey, look, we love Marcus. Never said a thing. Never gets sucked into this stuff. Joe Douglas is the epitome of professionalism. But when he gets what he wants, even if it's for a brief second, little chair spin, that was the guy that he wanted. They didn't take him. He got him, and we saw it. Right? And did you see the hug with Joe Douglas and Ulbricht?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That was two big uglies, football players. That's what that was. Dude, we haven't seen that around here in forever, if ever. So Thomas Cahill checking, he says, Brees's main job is to save Carter's body. I think that's a big part of it. What do you think, Jeremy?
I think both of their jobs to save each other's body. I think that's the whole philosophy of, going ahead with a 2 or 3 headed monster is not to wear down one running back and to have change of pace and all that stuff. But I wouldn't say it's Brees's job to save Carter's body. I'd say they are going to save each other's body.
Interesting. How do you see that, Dom? Having just did a deep dive into everybody, what do you think about the idea of Brees being brought in so Carter could actually make it through the season? Maybe. What do you think of that?
I don't know if I'm necessarily all on board with that narrative. I think that I think that LaFleur is a believer of a heavy committee style approach, just like Saleh and Ulbricht talked about their heavy committee style approach for that defensive front. I think they know that the days of old of your typical 3 down running back that's going to see 35, 40 touches, that's just not going to swing it anymore, Right. So you need 2 guys. And listen, I'll say about these 2 guys. They're different running backs, but they have a lot of very similar qualities. They could both. There's going to be games where Brees Hall lights the show up, right? And Michael Carter is kind of like an afterthought. And then there's going to be games where it's reversal. I know everything that I read today. Twitter was all over it, and a lot of other Jets media sites were all over it. That Brees Hall is going to have 60 to 70% of the touches. I don't think that's the case. And again, Brees Hall is wonderful. I love the guy. I don't think that's the case. I don't think anyone's going to see that strong of a lion's share of the touches throughout the whole season. I think they're both there to be integral parts of the offense. They have very similar traits. They do a lot of the things, the little things, very similar at a high level. That we talk about in my article, I talk about it like the way that they react to contact, their contact balance, the way they run through arm tackles, the way they're always gaining positive yards, even when they're getting tackled, falling forward. I mean, think back to last season, guys, in the chat or Bean or Jeremy. I mean, when you saw Michael Carter, you always saw him kind of bouncing like a pinball, always gaining yards, He just has that innate ability. Brees Hall's the same thing. Brees Hall's that with another gear, even. You know what I mean? So I don't think that one is going to save the other's body. I agree with what Jeremy said. I mean, that is going to be a byproduct of them complementing each other in the offense. But they're both going to play heavy roles. Now, Jets Forever, a while back in the chat, I happened to see it come through. He said both of the guys are going to have 1,000 yards. I think that's legit. Maybe not 1,000 rushing yards, but Sign me up for 2,300 combined yards from scrimmage.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Sign me up for it.
And that's the thing. I think, Thomas, you make a good point, whether or not that's, the specific way that you put it, maybe, the fact that like Brees was brought in specifically to save Carter's body, maybe not all the way there. But I think like Jeremy and Dom just said, it's a very important aspect of having both of them. Dude, don't forget, Michael Carter had a running mate in high school and in college. Like he's never been the bell cow.
No.
So this
and as good as he was, he's never been the bell cow. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Carter, we love Michael Carter. I think the Jet staff love Michael Carter. Like we have a good running back room. They're all young and they're all unproven. But if our offensive line can give them just a brief moment of air, I think we got guys that can make the best of it. And that's going to be interesting because, again, it's all about protecting Zach. I'm sorry, I'm freaking out with this fucking puppy. I don't want her to chew wires. But like it's all about protecting Zach Wilson, right? And getting him into a position where he can be comfortable. A running game is about as beneficial as anything to being able to keep him on his feet and keep the defense so they cannot just pin their ears back and just bet on it. Just go all day, every play at Zach Wilson, 100 miles an hour. If they can't do that because you make them pay, that's it. And the running game does that, man. And I think Brees Hall was a fantastic pick because even though, like Thomas said, it is going to save Carter's body, I think the truth is that Brees Hall is a premier running back, at least his, as a prospect. Like he's premier. We haven't invested an asset like this in running back since 2001. And we haven't brought a running back in with this pedigree since, even before that, so it's one of those things, man. This could be a good one. And you add Laken Tomlinson, you got Laken Tomlinson and ABT in the middle, clearing out the lanes. And I think these guys, and then you got Bawden running through. We can be lumping people up this year. We can.
I love it.
Let's see here. So what's up, Buffalo? Checking in there. Buffalo Jets fan. You guys know him. Buffalo Jets fan on YouTube. One of our buddies. JD had top five salary cap in the league and unprecedented draft capital. He didn't pay an offensive tackle more than $1 million, and he drafted 5 positions before offensive tackle. If that doesn't shout confidence in Mekhi, what does? It's a great point. It's a great point, man. Well, that's what I said. The narratives were that the Jets are going to take Icky or we're going to trade Mekhi. Now, we don't know if they had any talks about trading him, right? We don't know. But like Buffalo just illustrated, it's not that we went out there and bolstered his position. We didn't. We got backups. And we drafted Max Mitchell in the 4th round, who, as much as a lot of us like him, and I liked Max Mitchell as a prospect, he's a pipeline. You do not want Max Mitchell starting this year. Now, next year or 2 years, sure. He could be the next guy up. Totally. But if he had to start this year, that's against the plan. So Max Mitchell is not here to push Becton. Sorry to say, Rich Cimini, Michael Clemens is not here to be a tackle. Okay. As much as you want to make that real, it's not real. So that speaks confidence. The actions speak louder than words, man. And we have all these stories, all this stuff swirling around. At the end of the day, last week, Robert Saleh called Mekhi Becton a transcendent talent. And like Buffalo said, we didn't bring in any tackles to take his spot or push him. Now, they still might bring in a guy. We don't know. You know what I mean? But up to this point, it doesn't seem like they're in panic mode. You know what I mean? What do you think, Dom?
No, I think that's a great point that Buffalo Jets fan makes. But in thinking about it now, you just showed the clip of JD after Houston, picked, QB1 or CB1 off the board, Derek Stingley at 3, and he was pumped because Sauce was their guy.
Right.
If that pick Sauce, is Ike Ekwonu on this team? Now, again, I'm not trying to. We don't know. I'm not trying to put a narrative out there that's not true. That's a legit question, But I think I think that's fair. I think that he drafted Mekhi Becton. We saw the resurgence. So he saw the resurgence of George Fant. Before the draft started, there was already talks that, hey, Fant's a guy we might want to keep here long term. Let's see if we can make that work. There was ample opportunity with all of our draft capital that we had to bring in a tackle. There was plenty of good tackles on the, in the set, still there in the second and third round, that could have been, but we didn't. So I think that bodes well for the point that Buffalo's trying to make, that, Mekhi Becton, a healthy Mekhi Becton is better than anything that we would have drafted in the, second, third round to fill that spot. I think that is the boost of confidence. I think he knows that we have our guys. As long as we're healthy this year, going into this year, we have Fant and we have Mekhi Becton, and that's fine. Now, to counterpoint also, I don't think we should stop there.
No, I don't either.
We definitely still need to, scour the waiver wire and examine some of these guys and bring in another, secure, able body that can pop in and swing tackle and start and not really drop the level of production that far if they have to come in and play, a la Morgan Moses last year.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's an interesting point that you present, but we can say that about anybody that was taken in the top 10. You know what I mean? Like we could, you could say, well, if Breece Hall's taken, maybe they go with Kyle Hamilton. Maybe they go, you know what I mean? Like we could say that we could do any, maybe Garrett Wilson is the next guy up. Maybe we take Garrett Wilson at 4 and Jermaine John, so it's an interesting point, but again, it's what I just dealt with my house, Dom. They didn't find anything wrong. This structural engineer came in. She didn't find anything wrong, but she also didn't find proof that there couldn't be anything wrong. So she delayed it for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? It's like, well, where's the red flag? Not necessarily red flags, but I don't have proof that there's not something wrong in there. Like, what the fuck's leading you to that? There is none. And I guess there's a logic to that. I mean, there is theoretically, but that's the thing. We don't know. But again, if they were in a position where they thought, let's say Icky was the next guy up. Let's say,
and I don't know, Jets fans, I don't know if that's the case. I know that. I'm not insinuating that you did.
I'm just saying the point is it's an interesting point to ponder, but it doesn't mean anything one way or the other. Now, let's say Icky was the next guy up. I lost my fucking train of thought. Shit. I don't know. Well, forget it. Sorry. Good night, everybody.
Oh God.
No, this is late anyway. I want to wrap this up. I told my wife, I shit you not, I was tired before the show. We're moving tomorrow and everything. And she hinted, hey, you might want to make sure you get a good night's sleep. I said, yes, of course. I said, I think I'm probably just going to do like an hour tonight. Instead, it's 3.
3 hours.
3 hours and 9 minutes right now.
Always happens to me too.
I'm telling you, it's the worst. But the best, because this is a good night. I love chatting, But here's what I'll say, guys. We have a lot to be excited about. And I think it's okay to be excited. Like was discussed earlier, the hope is a problem, right? Like we get too hopeful and then we get let down, but we have to look at where we're really attaching hope. A lot of those years, man, just look at it. We didn't have much reason to have legitimate hope. Of course, we have hope. You're rooting, of course. But when you look at it, it's like we didn't really have anybody. It was a cast of nobodies. We needed everybody to be better than they're supposed to be. And when that's the case, now we all need guys. We just need guys to be as good as they're supposed to be. That's it. Like we just need guys to be what they can be, what they are. And that's it. We just need them not to, completely degrade in front of our eyes. And we're going to be really good. If Saleh, LaFleur, and Ulbricht can coach, I think we got something. That's what I think. And I think that we'll see our 7 to 9 wins and it'll be fun. So we're going to bounce out of here, guys. I thank you for the 3-hour hang, man. This was pretty good. Jets Forever saying the hope is real. I agree. The hope is real. So you know what's real fun though, before I go, Ryan Jet brings up Morgan Moses. Wouldn't it be delicious if Jermaine Johnson eats Morgan Moses's lunch week 1? Wouldn't that be good? Everybody just feasts on Morgan Moses all day. Wouldn't that be great? Oh, that'd be great.
Oh, Scuttlebuttle's not letting you out so fast.
Oh, here it comes. Scuttlebuttle. What's up? Thank you for the super chat, Scuttlebuttle. He says, Jets fans need to be patient. record might not indicate the direction of this team. We must get this regime to 2023, and I think we'll be okay. I actually agree. Now it sucks, right? Like I think if we can get an 8-win season out of this one, like we can just get back up to that 500 range, which is not possible anymore. But if we can get to 8 wins, I think that we are definitely on the right path. And then we just add. You just keep bringing in new kids, and you just keep these guys around. You let the old heads kind of, fold out of the team, and you just make sure that you have a nice system of pipelining and guys that are here for more than a season or two, and we'll be there, man. Let these guys develop in this system, develop together, and we're gonna have a good couple years here. And wouldn't it be nice if we set it up that we can have a good decade?
Oh man,
or from now on, we're just a good team. You know what I mean? Wouldn't that be something? The basement sucks, and it's time that we've moved. So I want to thank Dom and Jeremy. Jeremy's at Jets Chaos. I think this will be the final name of your channel, right? I think this is a good one. You landed.
I hope so. I hope so. No,
yeah, it's a good
one.
Nice
I don't see it changing, since I might get it tatted on my arm. So.
Oh, that'll do it. That'll do it. Yeah, so Jets Chaos, you can hear Jeremy. He does all kinds of fun stuff on his channel. Dom C has plenty going on, but I'll talk about he writes weekly articles for us, and he's also actively involved in the Beanbaggers with my Patreon group. If you'd like to join that, the link is in the description of this video. And Dom's most recent article, I put that link in the description. If you don't see it there, just refresh the page and it'll be there. So you can check Dom out. His articles are fantastic. But I want to thank both of you guys for being here. I also want to thank everybody in the chat. It's nice to see you guys here for this long. And look, we'll get through this offseason together. And let me play this last clip for you guys. So have a great night, everybody. We will see you next time. Look, when you're a box score guy, when you're a final results guy, yeah, I get it. He has 6 wins in 2 years. I understand, right? I totally get it. At the same time, if you look at the story behind the numbers, which is something that I like to do all the time, I'm not just a stats guy. I look at stats, I consider stats, I enjoy stats, I deconstruct stats, all that stuff. But I like the story around the stats. How did we get to the stats? That's what I want to know. And the story around Joe Douglas has been something that we have not really seen here in a long time. We watched a guy doing what guys like myself have been screaming for the longest time. We need a legitimate and thorough tear down, and that's what we have not been seeing. We got this crappy layer of eroded and rotten foundation, and we go sign Le'Veon Bell and CJ Mosley and stick them on the top of a turd. Like, it's just never going to work. We knew it wasn't going to work. Now we rooted, we had hope, but it was never going to work.
Day one, a violent vertical edge setter.
He's gonna beat him today. I see some gas off the hips. Get that mindset to put your shoulder on somebody. Dig, drop, you're finished, and first down.